Let Buffalo Creek Doors and Floors help you restore your home to its like-new condition. Need a contractor? Let us be your first stop as well as your last. Want to see what kind of work we do? Check out our Facebook page and you can see the craftsmanship you'll receive and expect from Buffalo Creek Doors and Floors. Give Rodney James a call at 214-536-2607 or check him out on the web at www.buffalocreekdoorsandfloors.com. At the Jerry Bullitt Training Center, we truly believe experience is the best teacher. With over 50 combined years of knowledge and experience in sports performance and athletic training, our coaches understand exactly what it takes to achieve your goals. Contact Melvin Bullitt at 214-326-7853 or visit their brand new facility just outside of Waterview at 8900 Princeton Road in Rowlett. Being taken for a ride? Check out Costco Insurance, serving Texans since 1981. Bundle your home, auto, or business insurance to save a ton. Costco Insurance on the corner of Main Street and Rowlett Road, where we make insurance fun. Or check us out on the web at CostcoInsurance.com, where we always have the coffee pot on.
Yeah, but is it fresh?
Welcome to the Couch Potato Sports Show, your internet radio home for all sports, news, and talk. Join Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, and the Eagle Eye, Bill Cerna, and the best co-host anyone could ask for, Cuervo. We cover it all. NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, as well as indoor football and high school sports. Now, it's time. Here's Sonny Clark.
Oh, yo, everybody. Welcome into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio here on a Sunday morning. I don't have anybody on, so I can take those off for a moment. We are on our Sunday morning tradition that continues on into our 10th season. Welcome into the show, everybody. We appreciate that as we are on part 2 of our show. That being said, we covered 6 games of week 17 already on Friday night, as there were so many games. We had 16 games to cover, and being able to get it done within the 3 hours, or in this case 2.5, as we had some internet connection difficulties. So someone must have hit something, or it went out just like plop. So when we were scheduled to go up on air right at 9 o'clock, about 5 minutes before we were going to hit air, we were actually on, and then it went away. So we got it back here for whatever the reason why of the outage. Hopefully we won't have that problem here in this next 2.5 hours here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. And that being said, guys, just to go over the games that we talked about already, and I'm going to get Cuervo's pick. Cuervo is running a little bit late. He'll be joining us at the top, somewhere near the top of the hour, of the 10 o'clock hour, and he's got some work-related things that he has to take care of, so he is on that. So let's talk just really quick. The games that we did talk about, the news that came out, the games that we talked about: Atlanta at Tampa Bay. Cuervo and I both picked Atlanta in this one, mainly because they're just the better team. Tampa Bay having their situation there as far as Jameis Winston wanting now $20 million or $30 million to play. I don't know how this guy gets $30 million. Guys, I don't get it. I don't understand it. Don't make very much sense to me. But then again, what the hell do I know? They end up paying people that I don't think that they should be. Cuervo and I are both believers that, not that we think he deserves $20 million, but that's what teams should really pay for him in reality, not much more. That having been said, also the Chicago Bears go on the road to take on the Minnesota Vikings, an important game for Minnesota in reality, even though they're going to be, there's rumors out there they are sitting Kirk Cousins. They're not going to start a lot of them. There's no win situation for them, so they get some good experience with some of the seconds and thirds in the lineup. So it's the reason why we all went Chicago. Cuervo and I went Chicago on that one. Cleveland visits Cincinnati. We lost Cuervo as far as his connection was concerned. He went out and got an Ethernet cord, so he should be really good as far as the connections are concerned. That being said, I went Cincinnati in this game. Just as we were going to get Cuervo's pick, we lost him on the connection. So we'll go through this one, as well as the Green Bay Packers taking on the Detroit Lions in Detroit. I went Green Bay in this one as far as that was concerned. Indianapolis at Jacksonville. Lots of news about Jacksonville. We'll hop on that here in just a moment. Miami and New England, I took New England. But back to that, Green Bay at, mark that, Indianapolis at Jacksonville. This happened yesterday. As I was coming home from work, I got off at around 11:30, and then there was a big announcement that the Jacksonville Jaguars were going ahead and are going to let Doug Marrone go as the head coach of that football team. And that would be a huge loss in reality for the Jacksonville Jaguars. This guy's a good coach. This guy had that team right on the edge of making the Super Bowl in reality if they were able to put it together. And in 2 years, Tom Coughlin, who has been fired already, really started putting the sticks to some of the players. Some of the players were having a real hard time with the way that he was handling his situation, his business, with fines and levies and all this other stuff to players. So that was a big problem for that whole situation. So just to let everybody know, that is what's going on. Jacksonville Jaguars front office had backed off of that statement, just to let everybody else know that. Saying there has been no decision that has been made. I don't know how anybody can believe the fact that that is not the case. I believe it very much so, that they have gone and went ahead and made this decision. I don't think there's any question whatsoever in reality about Doug Marrone not being there. When this kind of information leaks out, there's validity to it. So I'm going to say that there is a 90% chance that Doug Marrone is not going to be the coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, which would be a damn shame with that situation. My other understanding is that the general manager is going to stay. There hasn't been any announcements as far as he was concerned. Let me get that guy's name. For sure, and I think got to pull off the old glasses, because I'm getting a little bit old. The general manager of this football team, I had it right because we talked about. Here's Tom Coughlin, his name should be right here, but I can't. Where is it? I know it's here. Dave Caldwell. Dave Caldwell is the general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So my understanding, and there has been no announcement of him losing this job. So that's something to also keep in mind as far as that is concerned. So we will find out at the end of the day, as today is Sunday. It's the Sunday coach, the actual coaches that get fired today. It's the Sunday splat that I call it. We'll find out if anything happens after these games. We're also going to be on air tomorrow. Cuervo and I will let you know what time that is when he comes in. My idea and my thought is that this is going to be at about 4:30, maybe 5 o'clock Central Standard Time tomorrow, where we'll talk about some of the coaches that have lost their jobs and things of that sort. So keep that in mind. We will be up on air as far as that is concerned. So now, still got 10 games to go through, guys, and that's one thing that Cuervo understands, and what we'll do is we're going to hop into those games as far as that is concerned, because we still got to get them all covered, and we'll get a brief synopsis of some of those games that are going on. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and go to our next game here that I have. Oh, I turned the page because I was looking up something here. So all right, so the next game that's up on board here on the Couch Potato Sports Show, and I don't want to get to any heavy games because I want Cuervo involved with them. So what we're going to do is go to the New York Jets and the Buffalo Bills, a good game that is on fire. I'm going to tell you that it's the battle here because we will really get an idea of what kind of team the Buffalo Bills are going into as far as the season is concerned. Okay, we got to find out, are they for real? And we've been talking about it all day long. This year, I don't know if we're going to get a lot from it. In reality, I don't know if a loss here will have any indication on what kind of team that the Buffalo Bills are going into the playoffs. My thinking, the way that these teams are, who are teams that don't make the playoffs or teams that are not in the playoffs a lot, have got to go in with momentum. And we talked about it yesterday as far as the Minnesota Vikings not starting their starters. I think that's a huge problem for them. Baltimore, they're not going to start their starters as well. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But those teams that have not been there, they're not experienced. They need that momentum going into it. So when the Jets take on the Buffalo Bills, the Jets are 6-9. They're third in the East. They're behind the Buffalo Bills, who are 10-5. They're second in the East. And of course, the New England Patriots, the team that we talked about on Friday night, take on the Miami Dolphins. Most doubtedly probably a win for New England. So Buffalo really wanting to keep that momentum going into it is huge, as they are 10-5 and sitting in second place as far as that is concerned. So you look at McDermott and how everything's going to happen. McDermott isn't just sitting Allen out of this game my understanding, and this is from my notes here on my computer, okay? It says here that they may not start Allen in this game. One reason McDermott, here it is. It finally came across. This literally just came. If I had my sound effects, I'd do it. Allen is going to go ahead and start this game. There is a question on how long that he is going to play in it, but and according to this thing that just literally came across my screen, McDermott isn't only sitting Allen entirely so he can see how he can get back in case they get behind in this game. So it's kind of like a test for Allen at the quarterback position to see what's going to end up happening. So there were some questions on whether or not that he was going to sit in this game, but it looks like they are going to go ahead and get that all squared away and get going. Now, that also just trying to help the slow start. So how long he stays in, it's going to be huge. The Jets, on the other hand, you take a look at that football team. Let me just switch my notes here and go back to this. When you look at the Jets, okay, this is a team that have opened games by scoring on their first possession 7 times this season, which is an incredible stat when you think about what the Jets are about. And in those drives, they have 5 touchdowns and 2 field goals. When you talk the Jets years before that, you're not talking about a team that gets out there and do that. Now, I think that's obviously with what they got going on at the quarterback position. So there's a lot of stuff there. So there's going to be really an interesting situation as far as what's going to happen. Now, as far as this game as well, McDermott, just to let everybody know, and he announced this, that he's assigned several coaches to do double duty scouting on one of Buffalo's 2 possible wild card opponents. That's either Houston or Kansas City. We'll know that later on today. So he's got double duty scouts working on what is happening. So he's going to have double the amount of scouts that he would normally have at a football game, and he's doing double business with Houston and Kansas City. So there's a lot of stuff that McDermott will be looking for in those games as far as that is concerned. Skipping back to the Jets, the Jets have the number 2 overall rushing defense, holding keeping the teams down to 88 yards a game. And guys, that is something that is really good if they get their offense going. So obviously they have their problems in the secondary. They can't win football games. It's because people are going over the top on them. So watch out for that. The Jets have allowed only one 100-yard rusher this season. That was Ezekiel Elliott. He did it in week number 6. So you look out for that. And that was the game that the Jets beat them, even though Ezekiel Elliott got the 105 yards. So that being said, Bills linebacker Lorenzo Alexander said that he has not had a change in heart as far as retiring. He doesn't want to be a distraction. He came out and said that. But when you talk about a guy that has been kind of like, you go to, some of the teams like Cleveland, they had that offensive lineman that played so well for so many years, and then they started getting better, and then he retired the year right after they were going to get better. So this is a guy that's been there for many years, 13 seasons. So there has not necessarily been an answer to that. But in picking this game, I'm going to go with the team that's in the playoffs. And more in the fact, though, when you're looking at who's going to win the game, that is a huge problem too, because you don't know what you're going to get from the Jets. You don't know what you're going to get from Buffalo, and that makes it very hard to pick the game. So watch out for this one. You never know. I'm going to just in reality go with the Buffalo in this one because of the simple fact of the matter is that they're the teams that are in the playoffs. They're the team that needs to keep the momentum rushing through that one. So that should be a real interesting situation as far as that is concerned. Now I'm going to go on to another game that I know Todd is a fan of, and he probably will be a there's Ryan Smith. Do they get it done today? You got to hang out and find out. It's going to be one of the games that we cover, Ryan, in the final hour of the Couch Potato Sports Show. So I'll give you an answer to that one a little bit later. But instead, we're going to go to the Oakland Raiders going on the road to take on the Denver Broncos. Now, there was a video flying around what the stadium looks like. It looks like Darth Vader's helmet in reality. So that's kind of cool as far as what it looks like and everything else. It's going to be a very interesting season for the Raiders next year in Las Vegas. If you got the opportunity, go find that video. Someone's driving by and they took a video of it. It's kind of really cool with the way it looks. But Oakland Raiders, they hit the road for the final game to take on the Denver Broncos. I'm telling you right now, guys, I talked about it at the beginning of the year, okay? But I thought they would actually be able to do it with Joe Flacco at the quarterback position. Unfortunately for Sonny, as far as his prediction was concerned, they didn't get that with Flacco. Evidently, Flacco is done. I don't want to believe it. However, I probably are going to have to accept the fact that Joe Flacco is done. That having been said, as far as his time in Denver, it is done because Locke is going to come in there and take over this football team. Now, and Todd made mention of this yesterday or 2 days ago. It's too bad that they didn't put Locke in at the beginning of the season. And the only reason why that is because this defense is actually really a good defense. Last year and the year before that, really, really good defenses. This year, not as good as the last two before it, but still good enough. Von Miller was there and everything else. So I take a look at the opportunities for the Denver Broncos, just kind of unfortunately letting it go. So when you look at this game, as far as the Oakland Raiders, they're 7-8 out on the season. Denver Broncos 6-9. Oakland went on a little tear earlier, but they were also against teams that were not all that good. You still thought that the Oakland Raiders would lose those games, but they went ahead and made a stretch, won a couple of games on the road that were really important for them. So you take a look at the Raiders, their playoff hopes are pretty much dashed. They're gone. adios. So you look at that. So what's going to happen in this one? It just all depends. And it goes back to all those games. And a game that really does not matter whatsoever, what is Denver going to do? Are we going to see Lindsey in this game? I think we will. Will we see Locke for a long time? I don't know. I think we will. I think we'll see most of these guys, as far as the starters are concerned, for the Denver Broncos in there because they need this game. The Denver Broncos need this game so they can figure out what they're doing against a full tilt football team. Now, when you look at the Raiders, are they going to come in and do it all? I don't know. But I'll tell you right now, you want to talk about a guy that has had a problem for the last couple of years. Derek Carr of the Raiders, I'm going to tell you right now, has been just, in reality, horrible. So Carr has lost 9 straight starts when it's been below 50 degrees. So, and he owns a 65.9% passer rating in those games compared to a 94.7 in all the others. So that's going to be a problem because from my understanding, the weather is going to be an issue as far as coldness in Denver. So look out for that. And I just got a ding here, so I got to find out what that was about. Maybe it was Cuervo. No, it's not Cuervo as far as the lineup is concerned, at least him contacting me. But here again, you look at a football team as far as the Oakland Raiders. What is their future? Is it going to be Derek Carr at the quarterback position? That's going to be a big question. Is there a lot of problems with him and the head coach? I don't know. But I will tell you, as far as going deep in the cold, this is a stat. They keep this stat. And I found this when I was looking at this game. Derek Carr is 8 of 47 for 277 yards, 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 37.5 on passes of at least 20 yards downfield in cold weather. Now, when I saw that, I'm like, wow, that is huge as far as that is concerned. But what they do get is they get Hunter Renfrow back for this game. He caught a 57-yard touchdown pass on a third down conversion on the opening drive last week. So they get him back. So seeing how he's going to get into the lineup, it'll be really huge as far as that is concerned. So, and I'm trying to get this message. Still not coming across. There it is. Oh, it's Todd. Okay, so I opened up the page and it was Todd. So that having been said, that's the situation as far as this one. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, when you're looking at this game, you know, what are we going to get from the Oakland Raiders? It's going to be huge. Inside linebacker Alexander Johnson did not play over the first month of the season, but since stepping in against the Chargers in week number 5, he's had 83 tackles, second only to Todd Davis with 106 since October 6th. So look out for that one. That's one of the things that I'm looking at as far as that is concerned and where they will be. So as far as the Raiders are concerned. So I don't know. What do you think? What do you see in this one? Because I'm going to tell you, I hate this game too, trying to figure out who's going to win. I know who I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick the home team. I'm picking Denver. First of all, home team. Second of all, I think Denver's a better football team now than the Denver Broncos, without question, or than the Oakland Raiders, without question. I think as far as the team as an overall whole. Now, what's going to happen in Oakland as far as John Gruden and Derek Carr and how they're going to regroup and get set for their first year in Las Vegas will remain to be seen. I don't think there's a lot to worry about as far as that's concerned. I don't think they're going to get too much better. And the reason why is they had an opportunity earlier in this year to get better. They did get better. They started winning games, and then I don't know what happened. And that's what happens when you got a John Gruden and a Derek Carr. I don't think they get along. They'll sit there and say it all day long, but I think there is a problem as far as coach and quarterback. And that is a huge problem as they move forward into next year. I think Derek Carr could be gotten from the Oakland Raiders. I think he could be. Now, whether or not it'll happen, that'll be a different story. But I will say, as far as this game is concerned, I'm going to go ahead and I'm taking the Denver Broncos in this one. As far as the pick is concerned, where Denver, because I know they're home. Denver. There it is, Denver Broncos. All right, so I'm on the Denver Broncos in that one, as that's an afternoon game, by the way, just to let everybody know. All right, so another game that is probably don't have a lot to talk about, or as far as people will be looking at as far as the games are concerned, is the Arizona Cardinals and the Los Angeles Rams. Another afternoon game, but again, the Arizona Cardinals, what are they going to do? They have got a quarterback situation, so they need to play hard and they need to go at it. The Rams, on the other hand, they were eliminated out of the playoffs. So now the question is, for the Rams, do you go ahead and play your starters? And that's going to be a big question. So everything that I am reading is that we will see the starters for the Rams. So how that works is going to be interesting. Now, the Cardinals, they're 5-9-1. They've had 4 straight non-winning seasons, which is no great big deal. Now, Cliff Kingsbury, he's got to be able to figure out what he is going to do with his, I guess if you want to call him a rookie sensation quarterback. And I don't think he is a rookie sensation. I think there's a problem. I think they should have been able to win more games, but it is the Arizona Cardinals, and it is the Arizona Cardinals going back around 10 years ago and 11, 12, 13 years ago. It's teams that has the potential of being good, but were unable to get that. So that is huge. Now, the Rams played their first the Rams first played at the Coliseum in 1946 after relocating from Cleveland. So that's something, from my understanding, they're all done in the Coliseum. So they're going to say bye-bye to that field, and they're going to go into their new stadium. I don't know if that means anything or whatever the case may be. So the Arizona Cardinal defensive end Chandler Jones is the NFL leader in sacks. He's got 19. He got 4 sacks last week in Seattle. So you take a look at it. He has a chance maybe of breaking Michael Strahan's record of 22.5 sacks. I don't think it happens. Strahan was a bad man when he played. So you look out for that one. That is here. Todd Gurley, of course, I talk about Todd Gurley a lot on this show. As soon as that guy signed the contract, he checked out. And if you don't believe that, that's fine. You can go ahead. All you do, go find the day he signed that contract, then go see what he has done. I don't need to go look at stats. He maybe had 1, maybe 2 games that you can go, wow, I'm very impressed. But the other games, very, very, very pedestrian if he played at all. So I don't know what we get in this game. Again, Arizona Cardinals, Rams, parts of me are just saying, I'm taking I just threw my pen. I need that pen. I need my pen. Parts of me says that I am all about taking the home team in these games. But parts of me, I know who the better football team is. In this case, it is the Rams. But again, how long are the starters going to play? What are you going to do about it? I'm going to go ahead and pick the Rams. This could be my worst week of the year. And I had one really bad week. I think I got 5 right. This might be my worst week because, again, week 17, I hate week 17, trying to pick those games. So that's what I'm looking at as far as that game is concerned. So watch out for that one. It should be entertaining. All these games, by the way, should be very entertaining going into week 17. Tennessee hits the road and go to Houston. There have been rumors that J.J. Watts will be back in time for the playoffs. Good, bad, or indifferent, I don't know. But all I will say is J.J. Watts in the lineup can't hurt him in any stretch, regardless if he's at 75, 80, or 90%. He's better than what's out on the football field. Tennessee, another football team that is really, I think the situation is they have a chance to make the playoffs. So according to Todd Mintz, the Rams are playing their starters, and I don't know. I don't know how long they're going to play. They'll go ahead and start them, but how long are they actually going to play? That's going to be the big question. So, but now back to Tennessee and Houston. Houston is the biggest pretender in the NFL playoffs, just to let everybody know. Okay? If they get out of the first round, they won't make it out of the second. So that kind of look for that. But in this game, Tennessee, they need this game. I'm on Tennessee in this one, by the way, because first of all, I think they're the better team. Now, the record doesn't indicate that. But I'm telling you right now, Tennessee's got something to play for. Houston has shown in big games they can show up, but they drop the next one. So, you think about this one as far as Houston got the victory last week. Tennessee lost. Tennessee, oh man, that would have been really good to see Tennessee get that victory last week, and that didn't happen. So when I was looking at this game, first of all, it's in Houston. You got the home field advantage. But guys, we saw what happened to Denver Broncos came in and skull drug the Houston Texans. I don't know what happened in that game. But all I'm going to say, it's still staying in this mind right here. Tennessee is much better than the Denver Broncos. So there are several ways, though, for Tennessee to secure a playoff berth today. Okay? They want to do it by beating the Houston Texans so they don't have to rely on anybody else, because if Tennessee wins, they're in. So you got to look out for a lot of things. So we know we're going to get a full Tennessee Titan team. Will we get a full Houston Texans team who leads the division with a 10-5 record? Tennessee 8-7, and they've dropped one earlier this year. I forget what game. They had no business losing. So you got to look at that. Beating the Texans would be the best way for the Tennessee Titans to get into the playoffs. And if they get into the playoffs, it would be their second playoff position appearance in 3 years. So, but there are other ways that the Titans can go ahead and get into there. Tennessee could get in with a tie against Houston and a loss or a tie by Pittsburgh against Baltimore. They would also get a wild card spot if Pittsburgh loses and Indianapolis loses or ties with the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's another way if they don't win. So, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, we know what you got to do now. First of all, you got to win, and then that'd be number one. And you need to hope that the Tennessee Titans lose this game. And then after that, you have to hope that the Indianapolis Colts goes ahead and beats the Jaguars. So that's the way that whole thing plans out. So you look at it, this is the second time they'll be meeting. Texans got the best of them in Nashville only by field goal. So that is huge there. When you look at this one, it was a close game, 24-21. So look out for that. So that having been said, Ryan Tannehill right now, listen, this guy has been out of sight. And I don't know if it was Miami that was the problem. I don't know if it was him as the problem. That part I don't know. But what I do know is when I take a look at this game and I see who's the better quarterback play right now, Ryan Tannehill is playing better quarterback than the other guy on the other side. His name is Watson. Playing better than Watson right now. Not only that, he's got the team behind him. The team actually believes in this guy. So the Titans take 6 games with Mariota. They went 2-4. So you look at what they have done since then. That has been huge for him. Ryan Tannehill completing 70% of his passes as well. I'm telling you right now, and averaging a league best 9.6 yards per attempt. That is another thing. When you say Ryan Tannehill, you don't think these things. You think, oh, geez. But he has put it together in Tennessee. So watch out for that. That should be really interesting to see how they move forward with that. Now, Houston, the running back Carlos Hyde, he ranks 10th in the NFL. He's got his career high this season with 1,057 yards this season. It's the first 1,000-yard rushing season for Hyde as well. And he is 6th in the NFL. They got him from Kansas City in August, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was September. Somewhere in those days, they got early September. And good, bad, or indifferent, it is just what it is. Carlos Hyde is nothing to write home to mama about. But he's been having a very good year. So that the question is, will it last into this one? Who needs this game more? Obviously, I'm going to tell you right now, I think I know who needs this game more. Obviously, Tennessee needs it more, but Houston needs it more if they're going to be successful in the playoffs, because you're going up against a playoff team. This is a playoff game, playoff atmosphere that's going on here, and that is huge. So now the Titans right now, they are not happy with the way that they've been playing defense right now. Okay, but here's one thing I do know. After starting the season, only allowing an opponent to score 20 points or more in the first 7 games, they've dropped that, and they're giving up now 21 points. So you're looking at another touchdown a game. So the Titans are also coming off a game where they allowed a season worth 38-point loss to the New Orleans Saints. Everybody knew the Saints were going to win that game, but blowing them out, it kind of gives you an idea on maybe how the Titans will play in the playoffs as well. But I still would like to see the Titans make the playoffs, just for the added fun of having a team that can kind of do that kind of thing. So huge stuff there. Now, with those struggles on the defensive side of the ball, and with what's happening as far as Tennessee and where they are and what they're trying to do, I've got the Tennessee Titans in this one. So I don't trust Houston whatsoever. And that game, I'm going to tell you right now, that game against the Denver Broncos were one that were really, really new, really, really neat push. So Todd Mincy, he likes the Titans right now. He knows he can score on anyone. I don't know if that is true or not, but Fuller and Hopkins quite possibly out today. Their game time decisions, according to my list that I'm looking at. But at the same time, I don't think in reality, I don't think you risk those guys going into this game, going into the playoffs. Houston's in. Okay, so there's no reason. You might as well take a week and get those 2 guys healthy. Don't put them out on the field to where they can either re-aggravate an injury or get injured even more with another injury. So that's another reason why I'm on the Tennessee Titans today as well, because you're just not sure what you're going to end up getting there as far as that is concerned. So now, New Orleans and Carolina. This is an interesting game as well. Oh, we went over the hour. That's okay. I'm going to cover this one, then we'll get back in. Hopefully, we'll get Cuervo in here fairly quickly, as he said that he'll join us sometime in the second hour, and then we're going to go on a sprint. But because I'm getting my points out now, we'll just hear what Cuervo has to say about him when he comes in. But New Orleans at Carolina, it's I don't have anything to say about it. I really don't, except New Orleans trying to bring on Antonio Brown earlier in this week. All indications that they're going to move on from that idea. The fact of the matter is they don't need Antonio Brown to make it to the NFC championship. My pick that I thought I was going to be able to go on, bad injuries, and then the talk of Seattle was my pick in reality for the NFC representative in the Super Bowl. I've gone away from that. Main reason why is because of this football team, and the New Orleans Saints are just incredible, and Seattle lost their running backs and they brought in a head case. I'm going to tell you right now, that's going to be the biggest mistake of Seattle's deal. I say whatever you want about him, and you know who I'm talking about. Beast Mode himself. God, I hate that nickname. It's so stupid. I just want to strangle him. I don't want, and by the way, I won't strangle anybody who likes the nickname that he has. That being said, when they bring this guy back, now I like Tabran. I like this guy. This guy, he's in my mind, I think he's better. First of all, he's younger. Second of all, he cuts better. Second of all, he moves better. And Marshawn Lynch, you don't know what you're going to get from this guy. How much he's really in it. I don't even know how much they paid him, nor do I care, because I think that's how much of a non-factor that Marshawn Lynch really is. So with Marshawn Lynch back in the lineup in Seattle, I think that's a huge problem. I hope they don't play him. I hope it just was. I want to see Seattle in the playoffs. I would like to see him without Marshawn Lynch. Yeah, that's how much I hate him, because he was part of that legion of bungholes. Even though he was on the offensive side, he had the same attitude. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Look how great we are. Look at how great we are. He's that way. I don't care what anybody says. You can say he's a team player. I'm telling you, he's not. He's a punk. He's a punk, and he will be the problem for this football team. He'll be off-field the problem, whatever the case may be. Now, if this is strategic to keep everybody's mind off tilt, genius. Genius. But I will say this. If they go ahead and run deep with Marshawn Lynch, I'm going to tell you right now, that'll be a huge problem for them if they're going to depend on him. So when I look at this game, I'm all over New Orleans. I don't even want to look at the stats. I didn't write any stats or any of the notes down for this game. The hands down, this is an easy game for New Orleans as they play Carolina, as they've been god-awful. Now, Carolina is a team that's got to figure out what their future is about, and they're not going to figure it out in Week 17. I was listening to some of the XM radio on the NFL on XM radio. I've been listening to some of the locals around here, and I've been listening to some of the nationals as I've taken a couple of days off. I've actually not really done much of anything except for go to work at U-Haul for a couple of days. But after that, pretty much have been on mind vacation, and I'm listening to these people and talking about Carolina, about how important this game is for Carolina's future. It's not. The deal about Carolina is they have to figure out their quarterback position. It's not going to be the work that went in there. And listen, if they keep their quarterback, their rookie sensation quarterback, this is a team that will you just might as well write them off for next year. Now, if they do not run out and get a quarterback from somewhere, the Carolina Panthers are going to be in a lot of problems. Now, there's been lots of rumors. There's been lots of things talked about. And those rumors and everything, as the Saints right now, they've wrapped up the NFC South. So they're the champs. Third straight season, by the way. Okay, and they can't finish any lower than third in the seedings, but New Orleans wants the first round bye, so you know they're going to come in there and tear these guys up. How long Drew Brees will be in the lineup, how long it will take for them to start ripping them, will be another question. And I will tell you, as far as the Saints are concerned, if they go on the bye, everybody needs to look out. If they get a game and they get a week's rest, that is almost automatic for them to go in there, and don't even matter who they're going to play in their first game. They're going to tear them up. And also, the Saints don't want to lose their guys. They don't want to lose Drew Brees here. They don't want to lose Michael Thomas, but if they can get up in this game, get up quick, we'll probably see some of them going out. But if the Saints lose, they can still get the number 2 seed, but only if Green Bay and San Francisco lose. Both of the teams have to lose. So Green Bay and San Francisco, let me look at the schedule here. Green Bay has Detroit. And I'm already on Green Bay. San Francisco is at Seattle. Now, that's a possibility. I don't see the Lions beating Green Bay. So that's the only way, and if they lose. So lots of stuff happening. Now, the Saints right now, when you take a look at it, they had to do something about their secondary, the last couple of weeks. Injuries, Von Bell, Marcus Williams, Hampton, and Eli Apple. Okay, the injuries were lining up. How they are going to be in this game, I don't know. I will say they probably won't, depending on the situation, depending on what's going to happen out there. Janoris Jenkins, they got them. If I'm not mistaken, he was a New York Giant. So they grabbed him up. So that is huge. After, I think there was a foot injury for Eli Apple, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong, but whatever the injury is, Eli Apple was a problem. So they weren't very huge up on that whole situation. So they have to make sure their secondary is ready to go in the playoffs. And this is a good game for them to figure out where they're going to be. So let's see what ends up happening. How long will Michael Thomas play? With 145 catches, he enters the regular season finale already broken Marvin Harrison's 143 catches in a single season. So when you think about that, you got to go back to Peyton Manning getting the ball to Marvin Harrison. You got to go back to those days. Those are incredible. When you think about that, that's an incredible stat that he went ahead and took care of, because I'm going to tell you right now, there was nobody at the time better than Marvin Harrison and Peyton Manning. So that is huge there too. Thomas, 1,688 yards this season. He's 112 yards shy of becoming the 5th player in NFL history to hit the 1,800-yard mark. In 9 games this season, he's had 112 yards or more receiving, including 128 or more in each of his last 3 games. So, but he was limited in practice this week with a hand injury. I don't know how much that is a big deal. We'll find out. But now, the Saints right now, they get a Carolina team right now that is, I don't know if you want to say they look different, but compared to last time these guys, yeah, that was back in week 12. So Ron Rivera's gone. So that's one of the biggest things. And the Saints reality quarterback position, Will Grier, as Kyle Allen was the quarterback at that time. So when you look at Carolina, as far as their future, these are the guys that are going to lead it. They need to go out and get a real quarterback. I'm just saying, I don't care. If you're the Carolina Panthers, you need to go out and find a guy that can take over the quarterback position. It is not Will Grier. It's not Kyle Allen. So look out for that. Let's see here. The backup to Luke Kuechly in Carolina. Looks like he's going to play. Kuechly, I'm not sure if he's going to end up playing in this game or not. If I'm Luke Kuechly, I don't want to do that. And Christian McCaffrey at the running back position. How much are we really going to see that? This is the time. In week 17, Christian McCaffrey, Luke Kuechly, I'm telling you right now, if they hit the football field, that would be the dumbest move that the Carolina Panthers could do right now. And I will tell you right now, it's going to be huge, a huge setup as far as who's going to play in this game. So who's going to play? I don't know. Who will take over the coaching job? That's a good question as well. 8-game losing streak on the line for Carolina. They're going to go to 9, and they're not going to win this game because there's still something for New Orleans to play for. But at the same time, how long will we see them? How long will we see the starters for the Saints? I'm on the Saints. That's no great big secret. That one's easy. But as far as the future of Carolina and what they're going to be doing, this is an important game. If you listen, it's not an important game because no one cares about Greer. No one cares about their other guy, Allen. No one gives a rip about him. They have absolutely nothing in reality when you're talking about the quarterback position and what their future is at the quarterback position. It's sad because this is a football team that's going to move on from Cam Newton. And Cuervo and I talk about it all the time. If you're going to move on from Cam Newton, who are you going to get? And they have absolutely nobody lined up. Now, unless they're going to go out and make a move. Now, whatever moves that they know more of the contract negotiating, like team that might want to get rid of a guy or whatever the case may be. I don't know all that. I don't keep track of that. A guy can be gotten if something has been getting out there and going there. So McCarthy is one of the rumored guys. Todd Mintz throws that in there as far as the head coach. So will McCarthy keep a Cam Newton, or will McCarthy want to move on? Or does McCarthy don't have any say in the matter and Carolina's going to move on from him anyway? So you look at the Carolina Panthers' future has nothing to do with Week 17. The only thing that this game, as far as the future is concerned, is you don't put Luke Kuechly out on the football field and you don't put McCaffrey out on the football field to get that crazy injury that will keep him out of the first 6 to 8 games of next year. I don't make that chance. I don't make that lunge. It would be a dumb thing for them to do. So this one wasn't very hard to pick, but yeah, there's a lot as far as the future is concerned for the Carolina Panthers, but to get the win is irrelevant. Whether or not that we'll see Kuechly, whether or not we'll see McCaffrey in the game will be a big question. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't take that risk at all. So should be interesting. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a quick break in our here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. We're going to go to our commercials, and we're going to take about 5-minute break. You'll see some commercials. You'll also see some of the background of the show right here. So look out for that. But we'll be gone for about 5 minutes because Sonny needs to get more coffee. That also give Cuervo some time to get in and start talking about the games that are up on the boards here today. So we'll be doing that as well. So we'll take the quick break here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. We'll be back.
Being taken for a ride? Check out Costco Insurance, serving Texans since 1981. Bundle your home, auto, or business insurance to save a ton. Costco Insurance on the corner of Main Street and Rowlett Road, where we make insurance fun. Or check us out on the web at CostcoInsurance.com, where we always have the coffee pot on.
Yeah, but is it fresh?
Are you looking for a new home? Want to know what your house could sell for in today's market? Then you need to contact Realtor Jeremy Morgan with Ray Hubbard Real Estate Group at Keller Williams Rockwall.
Whether you're buying, selling, leasing, or investing, he can help you get where you need to be. That's 214-236-2914. Jeremy Morgan with Ray Hubbard Real Estate Group, Keller Williams, Rockwall. RowlettFood.com. Do you want to have dinner delivered but you don't want to use Uber Eats? Contact someone locally that can do the same thing at a better price and faster. All you have to do is pick a restaurant on the list at the website, tell us what you'd like to order, then check out. Check out RowlettFoods.com. Give us a call at 972-408-8002 or check us out on the web at RowlettFood.com.
At Wesson General Contracting Incorporated, we're your one-stop shop for all your general contracting needs. So roofing, gutters, sidings, fence staining, painting, foundation problems, or roof damage are no problems at all. Give us a call at 214-200-5588. That's 214-200-5588. Wesson General Contractors, proud sponsor of the Rowlett Eagles radio broadcast.
Ever want to know why Bill and I look so good on our broadcast? Check out K West Designs on Facebook. You can take a look at our pictures and see the quality of the work that comes from K West Designs, especially if you have a special occasion. Just get on Facebook, look up K West Designs right in the search bar, contact them directly for questions or anything that you may have regarding your personal design. Liberty Air and Heat. Everybody knows what the Texas Heat can do to your air conditioning and heating systems. That's why you need the experts that deliver the best and most honest service in the Rowlett area. We provide the high-quality air conditioning and heating services that keep you more comfortable when you need it. So contact Liberty Air and Heat at 469-678-9444 or visit them on the web at libertyairandheat.com. Find out how Merchant Masters DFW, specializing in small business companies, can help you save money and protect your customers' information with our credit card processing and point-of-sale system, including financial savings, lowest possible rates, superior technology, and improved support. Or contact John Beeman, Merchant Masters DFW, different from all the rest. Go custom. Get happy. Tell us what you love. We're your local neighborhood window covering experts who truly understand your needs, so we deliver the perfect solution for your home. So check out Budget Blinds of Rowlett, serving Rowlett, Wiley, Saxe, and Garland. Give them a call at 972-722-9300. Budget Blinds of Rowlett, where we listen to our customers' needs.
There is nothing that beats good home-cooked barbecue. Since 1941, whether you want real Texas brisket, Virginia ham, southern pulled pork, or fall-off-the-bone ribs, Dickey's Barbecue is the place to go. Come visit us today at 5701 President George Bush Turnpike, Suite 110 in the Target Shopping Center. For lip smacking, rib tickling, knee slapping, foot stomping, great tasting barbecue, come see us at Dickey's Barbecue today.
Let Buffalo Creek Doors and Floors help you restore your home to its like-new condition. Need a contractor? Let us be your first stop as well as your last. Want to see what kind of work we do? Check out our Facebook page and you can see the craftsmanship you'll receive and expect from Buffalo Creek Doors and Floors. Give Rodney James a call at 214-536-2607 or check him out on the web at www.buffalocreekdoorsandfloors.com. Landon Huey and 19 Ministries.
One of the things we want to do is Rowlett Revival, and we know that there are a lot of hurting and broken people across the city. Bring in a guest speaker, and he's just going to share the love of Christ, and we want to connect people in the city up with churches.
So make sure you contact Landon Huey at 19 Ministries at 972-835-8665 or check them out on the web at 19ministries.org or uniterowlett.org. Back here in our second hour, it's me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio with your coverage of the NFL. And that being said, in our 10th year, going to be our 11th season in February. Cuervo's 10th anniversary up on this show is in March, so we'll be looking out for that. I'll be, getting him all squared away. Hopefully he'll be able to get in here soon. He does have a work issue that he is dealing with him being in the military. We don't know what that work issue is, just so that you know. So with him being in the military, some of these kind of things happen. So that being said, of course, that's the name of this show. We are here and ready to rock and roll. We're going to roll through the rest of these things as far as the games are concerned, because there's lots of interesting things. However, I do want to get to some NFL news before we move on in reality, because a tragedy happens. And guys, this one hurts. Just more in the fact there's two reasons why it hurts in reality. Is because when a baby is lost is huge. But I will tell you that Marvin Jones, which, by the way, if you know anything about this show, I've got some mad love for Marvin Jones. Okay? Mad love. And unfortunately, he lost his child in a sudden loss for him. It's a very, I don't, half of me just don't know what to say when I read something like this. All I know, it's a tragedy. Now, he was put on injured reserve a little bit earlier, so it's not like going to affect the game as far as his play or anything else like that. So I guess if that's, kind of look at it, it's thing, they're not in a playoff run and everything else. But when a child passes away, it's horrible. And on this level, when these guys play this game, sometimes, I don't know how that, affects a player, because I've heard certain tragedies really having a bad result or having a real good result. So you just don't know what that whole situation is, although that it's a horrible loss in reality. So that is huge. The Baltimore Ravens and Marcus Peters have come to a 3-year, $42 million new contract extension. $32 million is all guaranteed. So $10 million is something that he would get in that third year of that extension. So Baltimore needs that guy. That guy is a bad. And did I say he's a bad man. So that is huge. That's a big signing as far as the future is concerned. concern for a Baltimore Ravens team. Also, the Carolina Panthers, they are planning to interview the Baylor head coach, Matt Rule, for their vacant spot. Good, bad, or indifferent. Baylor, since they got rid of their last coach because of that nonsense, I'm not going into it, but it's just, off the field problems all over Baylor. This guy came in and done a halfway decent job at Baylor. Good, bad, or indifferent. He's going to interview for the job. It's going to be huge. Now, back to the news as far as the Jaguars concerned. There were reports that the Jaguars were going to dismiss Doug Marrone at the end of the game. The Jaguars had to back off that and figure out how this got leaked. And because they're back on quote unquote, no decision has been made yet. Listen, that one got leaked. That is not a good thing. But Doug Marrone, where could he end up as a coach? Because I'll tell you right now, he's going to coach next year. And if he doesn't, it'll be the year after that. But this guy's going to coach. This guy is too good. Jaguars just handcuffed him. So that's none of that was good for him. So you look at that. So Doug Marrone, he'll probably be out. If he makes it another year, I'll be shocked, especially after this leak. And if he keeps it, listen, it leaked. They were talking about it. They were going to do it. So if he makes it, it's just be the Jaguars trying to save face and give him another year or give him a few weeks. If they have a bad beginning of the year, they'll can him now. So that is huge. Also, all-time quarterbacks were named. And the top 10 were Montana, Brady, Unitas, Graham, Ba, Elway, Manning, Staubach, Favre, and Marino. So, guys that didn't make it, Drew Brees. Now, I've heard a lot of talk on this one. And I'm not a Drew Brees hater. I love me some Drew Brees. And I know Marino didn't win the championship. But this was back in years. Nowadays, when you look at quarterbacks and how great they are, you have to have a Super Bowl next to them. Which, in turn, you get the asterisk next to Eli just because he has two. The guy sucks. Okay? So, but Peyton Manning, obviously there. But Drew Brees has won championship. Now, I'm not saying that. I don't know. He's a good quarterback, but I would want to see more before I put him on there. I really do. I might be in the minority of saying that I don't think he should go. I don't think he should be there. But that by all stretch, by all means, don't mean that he's not great. What I would say is if they did do one and make a change, I would take John Elway out. I would. I'd take John Elway out. More on the fact, I love Elway, by the way. Love Elway. If I'm not mistaken, 4 Super Bowls, 1, 2. But those 2 that they won, and he's got all the stats. And maybe it's just a personal thing, and it might be. I would put Drew Brees in over John Elway. I really would. So that's just my take on it. Now, whether or not it's right or wrong and different, we could argue about it at a later date. And again, I know I am not a guy is in the minority in thinking that Elway should be off and Brees should be in. If I was going to make the move, that's the move that I would make. So simple stuff there. Saints work out. Antonio Brown, no immediate intentions on signing him. That would be a disaster for chemistry, so you can't do it. As much as now, if they lost Michael Thomas, I would say yes. And that is the reason why Antonio Brown went to visit. It wasn't for the fact that they were going to bring this guy on this year. The only way they'd do it as if they lost Michael Thomas. And what they're doing is just making sure that their insurance policy is ready to go. And they wooed him and everything else and made him feel good. So you look at that, that is huge. So, I don't know. That's the guy you go to if you lose Michael Thomas in reality. So lots of stuff. Also, more news. The Falcons keep the head coach, Dan Quinn. Again, we'll find out whether or not they keep Dirk Koetter. We talked about that on Friday. And again, guys, I'm not a great big believer on that. So put that in there. You would out Breeze over Manning. You would make Drew Brees. If I read that right, you'd make Drew Brees. It's an opinion. I wouldn't agree with it. Peyton Manning is a badass. Peyton Manning's a badass. Yeah, he got that second Super Bowl ring on a hobbled leg, but he should have had more. The timing and everything of that, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning a couple of years. Peyton Manning was on the end of what we're seeing right now as far as quarterbacks are concerned. That's the only thing. I wouldn't take out Peyton Manning over Drew Brees. I wouldn't do it. So that being said, of course, but then again, that's personal opinion. Depends on what type of quarterback you like, and this 100 pick of the NFLs, and you're picking the 100 best players to ever play the game. That's a tough job. No one's going to like the answers that you give. No one's going to, on all of them. Someone will say somebody here and there. Matter of fact, I heard it on a national radio station that one of the 100 should be Michael Vick, and I just almost spit my coffee out because I was drinking it at the time. Yeah, if he would have, it was just a joke. But that's some of the news that is coming out in the NFL. So we'll get back into the games. The Kansas City Chiefs are at home, and they're taking on the Chargers. And I hate this game too, because I don't think, and I might be wrong, Kansas City doesn't have anything to gain or lose in this game. They're 11-4. They'd be in a pretty good situation in reality as far as the standings are concerned, where that would put them at 12-4. So when you look at it, I don't know if they can get the bye or not. I'm not sure if that's set up. By the way, I have not looked all that up. They say, Sonny, you're a sports guy, you should know it. I don't know it. I haven't looked unless I put it down in a note for certain games and things of that sort when I was actually doing something. Now, some of them I didn't even do. All right, so here's the deal. Kansas City right now, as far as where they are, they're 11-4. And if this thing stops moving, that would be wonderful. 11-4. Houston's 10-5. Just doing it by deduction. New England is 12-3. Baltimore is 13-3. So no, they're not going to get it. So it don't matter what they do, because New England and Baltimore will get the first round byes. It'll be 13-3. So especially if New England wins. So they're not gonna get the first round bye. So they're just gonna have to show up and play. So that's going to be huge. So whether or not they can move forward or not and get more, it's going to be, New England has to lose in order for them to win, and that ain't happening. New England's not going to lose even with the backup quarterback to Miami. Miami sucks. And but you know what? I probably shouldn't say that. I probably should not say that. I mean, it's a gimme that it's New England. But New England doesn't have anything to lose in reality. They never have, never will. And by the way, if the New England Patriots end up in the Super Bowl, are you really going to be surprised? And if you are, and if you are a football fan, you got to be there. Now, I also heard some talk. And last 2 weeks, a guy that I really like listening to in the morning when I'm on my way to work on Saturday morning. I listen to him. He's on CBS Radio. I'll remember his name. I called into a show a couple weeks ago. His name is slipping my mind. But they were talking about Tom Brady not being the GOAT. Guys, listen, you can sit and argue until you're blue in the face. The number is 9. The number is 9. So 9 Super Bowls. Okay. Now, that being said, in those 9 Super Bowls and how many years that they played, everybody, I've been hearing stupid statements about Tom Brady being the game manager. All I got to say is you don't watch the game. You don't watch the game. To a certain extent, I get what you're saying, but don't you think over the years that they've played that Tom Brady has had to come back and win? Game managers don't have to come back and win games, big games, Super Bowl games. Game managers don't do that. Okay? He's not a game manager. He's a game changer. And that's the reason why Tom Brady is the GOAT. It's not now, we can sit and argue it all day long. But the simple fact of the matter is if Tom Brady didn't make any big plays or come from behind, because even if you say it's because of Belichick, okay, there still has to be a guy that goes out there and completes those passes and makes the plays. When you're at the end of a football game and the New England Patriots need a field goal to win, and they are at the 30-yard line on their own side, I turn the TV off because they're going to win that game. Because he's a playmaker. He's not a game manager. He's a playmaker. And those are two different things. Now, granted, does he have one of the best coaches out there? Absolutely. But time after time after time after time after time after time after time, and I could keep probably saying that for a half hour, Tom Brady makes the plays to get the victory. So you can sit here and all day long and say that Tom Brady is a playman, is a game manager, and you'd be wrong. And I heard that. See, it's one of the reasons why I don't listen. So I wish I was were working during this holiday time, because during the holidays, I'll sit and I'll listen to these guys. And I'm like, you get the stupid talk. The stupid talk from now until the end of the year or until the Super Bowl. Okay. And those 14 days before the Super Bowl even get more stupid. That's why I don't even like listening to. But when I go on the vacation in my blind, I'll listen to them. And those that think Tom Brady is a game manager, you're an idiot. If he didn't make the big plays in order to win games, I would be there with you and I would maybe agree with you. But the guy's made so many plays at the end of the games, game-winning drives. He's probably got the most of anybody in NFL history. I might be wrong, but if not, he's in the top 5. And how can he not be? So those that don't think that he's the GOAT, understand. But don't call him a game manager, and don't call him a guy that just runs Bill Belichick's offense, because you'd be wrong. So look out for that. That's just a personal opinion. That, of course, that's the name of the show. It's that being said, we'll get into some of the other games that we haven't talked about as far as that, the Kansas City and the Chargers. I hate the game. I'm taking the home team. In the reality, I really don't know what more to say. I mean, the Chargers with their situation with Phillip Rivers, it's pathetic. Whether or not, and that was another thing. And Todd even made mention of this one as well, which, by the way, Todd joins us next week. We haven't decided what days we're going to do because the playoffs start on Saturday. So we'll either do a Thursday or a Friday show. I got to get with Cuervo, so hopefully we can get Todd up for those ones. We'll bring his opinions in on him. He's a guy, he knows football. I put his quotes up there so you can read them because he's right there. This game, though, he made mention of, Phillip Rivers. What's that all about? Is he got uproot? By the way, he's got 6 kids. So in today's world, I'll just put it like this. In today's world, this guy ain't going anywhere. And Todd's right. He's not going anywhere. Because in today's world, they actually care what kids think. They actually care about their emotional state. You go back to my day, my dad moving down the street, he could give a rat's fat, hairy ass whether or not I like it or not. Nowadays, kids actually have a say. Kids actually, they worry about their emotions. They worry about how it'll affect them. They'll worry about these kind of things. That being said, that's today's world. And I agree with Todd 100%. He ain't uprooting his family. And if he goes to another football team, he ain't moving. Staying right there where his kids are in the school. And that's the smart thing to do for their mental stability, not picking up. And listen, dad being away for 19 weeks is fine. He'll get a 1-bedroom apartment or whatever the case may be and be just happy if he goes to a different team. But I don't see him going to a different football team. 7 kids? Holy cow. Not only that, he's busy. You know, and that being said, of course, that's the name of the show. He'd have to get someone to, get the tools to unhinge the bed out of the floor. 7 kids. Damn. Anyway, but the Chargers situation is a very interesting one because you go back, Carolina, who are you going to get? So who can be gotten, who will be gotten, why they will be gotten. Cam Newton has been talked about over there. I don't know. Do you take Cam Newton over? I don't know. I don't know because I don't know how I feel about Cam Newton. I do know how I feel about him coming off an injury, which it means he's not going to be very good for the first couple of weeks. I can care less how much time he's going to have off here in this off season. It always still takes time to get back into the rhythm of the game. You just asked Tom McManus, who was a guest on my show, former Jacksonville Jaguar linebacker. He says it as well. It always takes a week, guys who are hurt, hadn't played for a while, to get the rust off. It's not just 1 or 2 plugs of oil on the joints and to get them going to get the rust off. It takes several times. And Cam Newton, you pick up Cam Newton, you got that coming your way. You're not going to get the Cam Newton that you're going to get 5 years ago, okay? You got to put some oil on that rust and see if you can loosen it up and see if he can become that guy of 5 years. And I don't know if that's the kind of risk that you want to take as far as who Cam Newton is and everything else. So watch out for that one. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. That's all I can say. I don't know if it's good, bad, or indifferent, but I will say when I look at the whole thing, when I see how a team is going to show up and play with a guy, Cam Newton has got a lot of work to do. I don't think a team, I don't know. I think me personally, I'm going to say it. I think he should stay in Carolina. First of all, he's beloved. No one's going to be pissed that he's going to stay. No one's going to say he sucks. So the best team for him to stay is with Carolina. The question is, have ownership and the GM got sick of him? And that's always going to be the big question right there. Are they done with him? We'll find out. So that one. But as far as the Chargers in Kansas City today, I don't know how you don't take Kansas City. But again, you think about it. They got their by the way, just to let everybody know, the Chiefs have wrapped up their 4th straight AFC West title, by the way. They need to beat the Chargers and hope that the Dolphins can somehow beat the New England Patriots to jump the Patriots for the number 2 spots in the AFC in order to get the bye. That would give Kansas City a first-round bye and a divisional game at Arrowhead in the playoffs, which would be definitely the best thing for Kansas City. Kansas City at home, tough game to play. Although, we go back to that. Kansas City at home, they've been playing really good at home. My mind is they weren't. They've been losing games on the road. So that's definitely a better thing for Kansas City as they were. By the way, Chargers 5-10. They've yet to win the divisional game this season. Will they get it? Could you imagine going 0-6 in the division? Because that's where the Chargers are headed in reality. They're at a crossroads with their quarterback, Phillip Rivers. Final year of his contract. They didn't sign it for a reason. That's why one of this. Listen, I don't know what you could expect if you're Phillip Rivers. as far as the quarterback position is concerned for the Chargers. I don't know how much you could honestly say that you could get from them based upon what he has been in the past. So I don't know if you could expect him to stay, but the question is, what is that number for the Chargers? I don't think it has anything to do with the number as far as Phillip Rivers is concerned. Phillip Rivers has a number. They'll either match it or they won't, and he'll get it elsewhere. See, and that's the difference between Phillip Rivers and some of the other quarterbacks who might be on the move. Phillip Rivers can write his, say, fill in the check this amount, and he can do that, except in one city, and that's San Diego, because San Diego already knows how much they'll pay for him. And whether or not he'll stay there and do it, I think he will take whatever the max would be coming from them and stay there because of the family situation. That's what I'll say. And if the Chargers want to move on for him, I think he's done. And if he's not done, he's not going to move his family cross country. He's not going to do any of that crap. So look at that. Travis Kelce is already the first tight end in NFL history with 4 straight 1,000-yard receiving, back-to-back 1,200-yard seasons. But if the Chiefs right now, when you look at this guy, if he gets 6 more catches against the Chargers today, he would become the first tight end with a consecutive 100-catch seasons. Those numbers are nuts. Kelce's a badass. Kelce is, there's different levels of greatness. He is one step below the dude from New England that retired. His name slipped my mind, but I know who I'm talking about. I just can't see his name in there. So he's just one step below that. And he is right there with the former Kansas City great, and his name come to me as well. Greats, and I should be able to run. I see, I didn't do that. I'm doing that off the top of my head. I'd have that names right in front of me. But that being said, you take a look at it. All right, now the Chiefs, they go out and grab Terrell Suggs. This is a game that they could get him in there and find out whether or not that they can have him. I think he was a 7-time Pro Bowler. So, you think about that. He's, that would be interesting. See how Terrell Suggs works with that. So that is huge. So, and those are just because they've lost some guys up on that defensive line. They needed some season ending. Okafor's gone and Agaba is gone as well. So they went ahead and they grabbed him up after the Cardinals waived him and let him go. So watch out for that. Now, one sack will take him past DeMarcus Ware for the 8th spot. With 138.5 for DeMarcus Ware. He'll take that one step and move forward with that. So that's something that's really interesting there. Now, Chargers, again, haven't won a game in the division, and that is sad. And on the other hand, you look at the Chiefs, they're looking for 6-0. So those are huge things to keep about it as well. The Chiefs also have never gone 3 straight games without allowing a touchdown. So right now, the Chiefs, when you see what that whole situation is, something they can accomplish if they can stop Phillip Rivers and the Chargers and keeping them in the end zone. That being a crazy thing when you see about the defense that's going on. The Broncos and Bears just only got field goals in the last 2 weeks. So after the win in Chicago, the Chiefs have moved to 7-1 away from home. So that is huge too. I mean, you look at these records. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs are 11-4 right now. 11-4. So that being said, they are 7-1 on the road. 7-1. So they've lost 3 games at Arrowhead, but it's still a great place for them to play. It'll be interesting to see what ends up happening. I'm going on Kansas City. I'm going to take the home team and try to get them squared away and moving in. This could end up being my worst week of these picks. This is really disgusting in reality. Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Baltimore sitting all their guys down. Pittsburgh needs to win. Pittsburgh. And that's even with it. Now, if the rumors are true, that's what it is. The rumors are they're sitting them down. I agree. By the way, jump back on that Kansas City game. Matt Moore should start this game. Absolutely. But they also want to try to get that home game. Patrick Mahomes starting without question. Now, when they throw Matt Moore in there, that'd be a big question. But they still want to try to clinch up that home field and hope New England loses, which we don't think that's going to end up happening as they're playing Miami. So, but yeah. So if you're a believer, maybe you start, see what ends up happening, see what's happening in New England. If New England looks like they're going to lose the game, they're going to be in everybody's ears. I'm sorry. They can sit there. By the way, there was one of the coaches had the Bluetooth. I don't know whatever came of it, nor do I care for Baltimore, by the way. It was a Baltimore coach that had a Bluetooth during the game. So now that's a no-no. I don't know whatever came of that, but that was just a couple weeks ago. So interesting as far as that is concerned, and I'll put the quote in because I agree with Todd a little bit here. But at the same time, they're going to be keeping the eye out on that football game without question. So you're seeing a lot of things as far as who will do what as far as New England and Miami. If Miami gets out on there and Matt Moore maybe starts, there's a lot of things you can do. So it should be really interesting going on. And listen, no one buys the stories anymore as far as coaches coming out. Oh, we're going to go out and we're going to do our best to win the game. No, they don't. No, they don't. Because if you want to, if that be the case, Baltimore would have their starters in it. So, that's the reason why I very rarely listen to all the fake, glamour about whoever they're playing. Oh, they're so great. That quarterback, he's so wonderful. Listen, back in their mind, they think this guy, they're going to tear his head off. Now, if they did an interview and these guys said, hey, I don't tear this guy's head off, I'm going at him. I don't respect him. Screw him. Then I'd listen. So I don't even listen to interviews anymore. It's a waste of time. But in this case, Chargers, not a good football team. Kansas City, pretty good football team. Patrick Mahomes, Matt Moore, who's going to start. I love me some Matt Moore. I know Matt Moore is a pretty good friend of mine. I always hope that we get to see him. I think he's one of the best backups in the NFL. And it just not even thinking on, but a career backup. I think Matt Moore, it might be one of the best to ever play, as he did a lot of time over in Detroit, backing up Matthew Stafford, doing a fairly good job for them. In reality, not fairly, he done a good job. And obviously what he's doing in Kansas City, he did a very good job when Patrick Mahomes was down. So that was another one. So, all right, so we got that one. Let's see here. Philly and New York, we're going to talk about with Cuervo. Hopefully he'll be, but Pittsburgh and Baltimore, yeah. I'm going Pittsburgh, especially since everybody says that they're going to do the starters and drop the starters. So Tennessee, Houston, we talked about already. I'm on Tennessee in that one. Washington and Dallas, we're going to hold on. I'm San Francisco and Seattle. We'll go to that game. That is Sunday Night Football. That's the last game of the year for the NFL in the regular season. So that one will be a good one, but an interesting game as well. As you look at what could happen or what's going on, let me see if Cuervo is in there. He's not in there yet, so I'm going to continue on with this one. So the San Francisco 49ers, 12-3. What a season. Seattle right there, 11-4. Probably the best game. They couldn't have written this one any better for the last game of the season. So they couldn't have wrote what happened in the NFL any better to have the best game for today to be Sunday Night Football. They have done exactly what they needed to do. So now, before all the hype, okay, and I'm talking about the hype of Marshawn Lynch being re-signed and Turbin being re-signed. Before all this game was already awesome. But the fact that Seattle lost their running backs, that's tough. That is hugely tough. Because I will say this. I had Seattle in the Super Bowl. I don't think they're going to make it this year unless this thing in reality is a complete and utter shade. And what I mean by shade, okay, is signing Marshawn Lynch is just a red herring. Listen, Marshawn Lynch, give me any give me any running backup who played this year over him right now. The guy, and I know I'm going to say, now I have everybody. Listen, this guy's not in shape. I don't even have to look at him to know he's not in shape. He's not any good, which is another thing. Turbin's better than him. That's the reason why parts of me think that this is a red herring and Turbin's going to be the guy. But obviously, all the big news is that the Seattle Seahawks signed Beast Mode, and I hate that nickname. But you want to talk about a finale that has got massive implications for the playoffs, and it's going to be dead center, all eyes on it on Sunday Night Football, is Seattle at home taking on the San Francisco 49ers. I'm telling you right now, it might be the biggest game in Week 17 history in reality, because you look at these records. These records are great. God, I remember when the NFC West could barely get anybody with 9 wins, sometimes even got an 8-18. This kind of switched coast. The NFC, you used to call it the NFC least. Now it's the NFC least for the East. It's just not really good at all. So you have to look at this game. So when you see Kyle Shanahan and how he's going to do, he's going to give all these right answers to the media. Okay. But he doesn't give a rip about the playoffs right now. I actually believe it because of the implications. First round, bye on the line. Huge stuff going on here. So now, Week 10, Seattle beat the 49ers in overtime. So this one here, you think about it, as far as this game is concerned, it means so much to the playoff picture that when you had everything set in your lineup and ready to go with Seattle, and you lose your 1-2 punch at the running back position, it changed the whole dimensions of this game. So now, Lynch, is it a positive for Seattle? I don't know. He comes out after getting signed and avoids all questions. I'm going to say this again. I used to be on Marshawn Lynch's side regarding news, answering questions. I get it. It's tedious and it's stupid. I get it. I understand it. But now I think he just gets off on it. I just think he gets on it. Dude, I'll tell you, Todd, this guy's not even going to get a yard. Turbin's got a much better shot, but I get what you're saying. He's getting 3 yards. But looking at Marshawn Lynch, okay, everybody loves him in the locker room. And then he goes out and makes a complete ass of himself in front of the media. At one point, I used to understand why it drove him nuts. I get it. But he hadn't been in front of anything. And he just goes there and starts acting like an idiot again. There's no need for this guy to be this way. He wants to be this way. This is him. And I used to think that maybe I got the reason why. Now it's just more in the fact that he just wants to be a jackass. I get it. No one wants to talk to reporters when you're a superstar. I get it. But at the same time, this guy hasn't been in front of a real reporter in a long time. He says the super nice things and everything else. But I will tell you, Chris Carson with the hip and with arm injury for Perosi, and, that's a killer. They had to do something. Hasn't played in 14 months, by the way. It's been over a year. So bringing back this guy, says what it is. Is he old? Of course he is. Is he got a problem with and he got an attitude? Of course he is. But at the same time, he knows Russell Wilson. So I get the reason why they did it. I really honestly think this is a red herring. I really do. And if Seattle honestly thinks that they can get this guy to make a point in this, it's going to be huge. So now the 49ers, they get George Kittle in this game. Clowney was the best player out on the football field at the time. No Clowney today. Kittle has 32 catches, 432 yards, 3 touchdowns in the past 5 games. Guys, sometimes a tight end, that's what he gets for the whole year. He had 13 receptions 2 weeks ago. You think they're going to go to him? And just for what really kind of hurts me is I would love to see my guy, former Rowlett Eagle out there, Marquise Goodwin, and I'm not sure what his injury is if he's out there. I know he's got a leg injury. That part I know. But I don't know if he's in the lineup just for my locals and just for my love for the guy. So Clowney has missed Seattle's past 2 games with the combination of being sick as well as a core injury that he suffered against the 49ers on the first meeting. Clowney has been a badass for this football. They need this guy. Me personally, if I'm Seattle, I don't even put Clowney in the lineup. You need that guy for the playoffs. You don't need this. You're going to make the playoffs. But at the same time, there's a lot of stuff sending right there. So Jimmy Garoppolo set to make his first appearance in Seattle because even though he's been there for a while, he's been injured. So he's never actually even played in Seattle. So you think about that. 2017, I think, is when they grabbed him up. So think about that. So, yeah, I don't know. And that's a total different football field, but this is a total different football team compared to the years before that when they had the Legion of Bungholes, the Legion of Boom defense and all the problem children that they had on that football team. So, but regardless of whatever it is, it's going to be loud, and Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have to do it. But here's one thing that has been happening lately. They haven't been protecting Jimmy Garoppolo very well at all. Weston Richburg, he's out for the season with a knee injury. Right guard Mike Pearson, he's got a neck injury. He's expected to miss this game as well. And that means that you have Bruskill and Garland have to step in and try to protect him. This defense that's going to be coming at him, I got news for you. And if Clowney even plays, it's going to even be worse. So you look at it though, this season, the offensive line for Seattle hasn't been all that good. Seattle has allowed 25 sacks in the past 6 games. 25. That's a lot. 5 last week again for Arizona last week, and that's the Arizona Cardinals, for God's sake. Dwayne Brown, knee surgery. He's not going to be in this one. And the defense that was so good for Seattle has been kind of showing the chinks in the armor, because you think about it, the defense has struggled in reality in the second half of this season. After only allowing 11 points in the first 7 games, the Niners have given up 26 in the second half. That's 9th worst in the NFL over that period of time. So Seattle scored 27 in the first meeting against San Francisco. And that included a defensive touchdown, pick six, and also a field goal in overtime. So when I was looking at this game, trying to figure out who I'm going to pick, it was nuts. But I'm not going to pick that game until Cuervo gets here, but I will do this. I'm going to bring him in, and there he is. God, it's so amazing looking this guy is. That's why I brought in the big picture there. Look how good looking this guy is. Holy cow. Bro, how you doing, my friend? What's going on?
Merry Christmas, happy holidays, Sonny.
Definitely.
My Christmas did not start off on a good note.
No, it didn't.
I told right. Sonny, I told you last week, this game made me nervous. Greg Williams defense. Our offense just not doing anything.
Ooh.
And sure enough, I mean,
Duck was bad. Duck got shot. I'm telling you right now, and he was picked up by the dog in the lake. Man, the dog went and just carried his sorry body across that lake and took it right back to the guy that shot him. Oh my gosh, it was bad.
1 touchdown a game in the last 7 games. You know, this just shows you how elite the defense is because they still only lost by 6.
Yes,
and that offense just, I mean, Randy Fiechner and the whole offensive staff, Sean Surratt, the new offensive line coach, no Mike Munchak, he left. You know, this past 2 weeks going against Greg Williams and Sean McDermott, they have gotten their lunch handed to them.
Yep, they have.
And it has not been – there's no offensive identity. And what the Steelers missed out on was way back in training camp. You know, even when they had Ben Roethlisberger, to me, is the closest player I've seen to John Elway.
Yes.
And John, at the end of his career, needed Terrell Davis. You know, he was always going to be good, but he needed Terrell Davis. And the Steelers should have built this offense, even with Ben going into this season and beyond, around the run game. Their best runs, whams, powers, counters, pin and pulls. They should have been running. All that should have been it. All their running backs are downhill running backs. They should have built the passing game around that. But instead, here comes Ben out in New England. They get it handed to them because they just don't have the athletes to play spread football like they want to. You can spread, but after you've established the run. And they didn't do that. They lost Ben, and this offense just has had some moments, but it has no identity. They don't do any one thing extremely well. It's just bad to watch.
And
even 8-7, and I could be all in that this team could still make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true. And we'll talk about that in a second. But before we move to the game, okay, all-important game for the Steelers. And more importantly, it's more of a game for the Titans. You know, that's the whole situation. But before we get to that, has Ben Roethlisberger just really in reality, is he secretly loving this? I mean, in reality, because you're sitting here, you're Ben Roethlisberger, you're over the hill, you know you're over the hill, but this is a guy that knows he's going to get paid because they don't have an answer for not having Ben Roethlisberger on the football field. They don't have an answer for it.
No, I mean, look, Ben already knew this. I'm sure he knows who he is.
He was worried. He was worried, though, because if they were successful without him, he was worried. There is no question about it. When he went down and it wasn't going to be in these games, in his mind, he was wondering, because of how old he is, how many years he's been with them, he was worried whether or not they would move on, depending on what they would get from Duck or from the other guy. His name slipped my mind. But either Rudolph. So he was still worried. But when you saw those guys, even after Rudolph had a good first few games, I don't even think Ben was nervous then, because what always happens is when you got these guys coming off of the bench, that film becomes God to these defensive coordinators, and they'll fall asleep. They'll have drool out of their mouth just falling asleep watching, and those defensive coordinators were all over it. It's one of the reasons why, if you're going to do the rookie, I think you do the rookie at the beginning of the season more so than bringing him in, because once that film is there and they'll see, I mean, those are quick tendencies, because they got it. How do they adjust quickly, more so than taking the time from starting from week number 1 to get to week 8 or whatever the case may be? So they were all over that in reality. And I think Ben Roethlisberger might have been a little bit nervous because he did not necessarily know that when and if he would be back, would he be able to step in that starting lineup if they were successful? I'm telling you right now, if right now going into this game, if they were 11-4, okay, Ben Roethlisberger would be shaking in his boots, wondering if he'd have a job next year.
I don't know if I can agree that he'd be shaking in his boots. I mean, I think it's the NFL, so anything is possible. But look, there was no question. Ben is the franchise guy. He's paid like the franchise guy. And because he got hurt early, this team, and I think that's why they traded for Minka. They're like, look, don't tank. We believe in Mason. We drafted him. Let's see what we got.
Yep.
And you know what? I feel that was the smart thing to do.
Yep.
Because either way, a lot of these teams, and Sonny, you know this to be true, they get caught out there not knowing if the backup guy is really the guy.
Yep.
And then what happens is you start the season and you have these aspirations. The backup guy doesn't work out, and now you're stuck looking for another quarterback.
Yep.
So the silver lining in Ben getting hurt was they went all in on this team this year and said, let's see what we got in Mason, and we'll know moving forward. And now I think they have somewhat of an answer of what he can be. I still think he can play even better. I like some of the tools Mason has, but the team would have to be structured differently around Mason and his skill set versus Ben. Even though I think Ben is elite and can do all the things you want a quarterback to do. I don't think he's necessarily nervous, but sure, as a player, and this is a business, if Mason came out threw 30 touchdowns and five interceptions for the season, listen, that's going to be, I would never be blasphemous and say Ben's going to be on a pitch count.
Yeah.
But let's say he came back from injury next year, started, of course, and then the first 4 games was looking really bad. They would be like, well, we got Mason, 30 touchdowns, 5 picks.
Why are we not playing him?
But that's not what happened. And Ben is the quarterback moving forward. I'll say it right now. Even despite last night, I want this team, if he falls to the second round, to draft Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts is a really good quarterback. I think his skill set is very Russell
Will
Wilson.
he be there by the time they pick?
Everything, Sonny. I don't think he will. But if he falls, Sonny,
Trade up.
they should have did. Well, I don't even think they'll trade up. If he falls to where they're going to be, take him. Look, in 2018, since like a quarterback, this team took Terrell Edmonds at safety, checked a lot of boxes.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted this team to draft Lamar Jackson. They were picking 24th. Why not? You knew you needed a quarterback of the future, and this guy was sitting there for the value at number 24.
Yep.
I wanted them to take. Well, actually, they were sitting at 20. I want to say they were sitting at 27 or something like that. Well, regardless,
Right.
I wanted them to take Lamar Jackson, and I felt they should have. So if Jalen Hurts falls to the second round, I'd like to see that happen.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to end up happening. However,
Right.
the Pittsburgh Steelers, what they have not done very much is do the trade up. And they go up and they do that last year. They trade up. They get the guy from Michigan.
It's been great.
It was the best. It was the best move they'd made in the draft in many, many years. Making a move at the quarterback position, this would be the time to do it. And here's another thing. That would probably make Ben Roethlisberger feel really good as well, because that guy's got 2 years to learn behind Ben Roethlisberger. And that's all this guy wants to play anymore. I think he wants to see what he can do for the next 2 years and then hang him up. If he can get the job done and make the playoffs and make a run for the Super Bowl, he wants to do it one more time. And whether it's next year or the year after that, and that all depends on whether or not that defense hold up. But I'm going to tell you right now, Pittsburgh's best move so far this year was going out and grabbing that guy out of Miami. And I'm telling you right now, that was the best move. Forget about the fact that they jumped up in the draft and got a stud. Okay. They make a second move after Ben goes down. Instead of going and looking for a quarterback, they go out and they get this guy. And so I honestly think when I know people are talking about, coach of the year. In reality, I'm hearing all that. I'm not falling for it. I'm not falling for it. Not because I dislike him, because I do. Listen, I'll put it out there
for him. These last two games they kind of hurt his case.
Yeah, well, exactly. Now, no, and it's not even those losses. Okay, I won't even put it that way, because with them being where they are right now, without having Big Ben in the lineup and them doing what they did to make up for it, obviously they knew they couldn't get a quarterback. I mean, come on. How many times are you going to be able to pull a quarterback from somewhere, whether it be a guy out on the street or a backup that could come in and fully take care of a Pittsburgh offense, which, by the way, is something that right now, and I'll just say it right now, Drew Brees couldn't go in there and know that offense. They'd have to learn it. It takes time to learn it. There was no way, and they knew it. They just need to figure out a way. You want to talk about a game manager? That's what they need. They needed a game manager. They got that a little bit with Rudolph, and before he got hurt, and then losing a few of those games. But even to that point, I don't think that he's the coach of the year, because I honestly think that they didn't give a rip. This season was thrown out the window as soon as they lost Ben Roethlisberger. That's the reason why they went and got the guy from Miami, and they're in this position now. They're shocked. I'm telling you right now, they're shocked. Listen, the Steelers are a team that usually never give up, but they also know the writing on the wall. They're only going to get as far as Ben Roethlisberger is going to get them to. So regardless how good the defense is, okay? So I don't think the coach of the year, he's done a great job. He's done, got the victories and everything. Okay, wonderful. But here's the thing more so when I think about that is that that's the reason why I think they should do exactly what they did last year, which is jump up, grab that guy. Because right now, there's nobody in the draft right now that is worth a nickel at the quarterback position that has put on the display that he's put on. So I'm 100% agreeing with you. They should sell the farm in reality. And then Ben, we got 2 more years with you. Let's see what we can do. If it goes to crap in the crap hole really quick, we'll throw him in here. But you're coming in the next year. And that would be the gentleman agreement. Listen, the Rooneys know how to do a gentleman's agreement. They've been doing it for years. Okay, because guys stay there when they can go get paid big time elsewhere, and they don't go anywhere. So that's the thing. I think Pittsburgh's going to be a tough team to beat next year with Ben Roethlisberger at the quarterback position.
Well, it all depends. I mean, really, you got to watch this. You got to watch out for what happens to Javon Hargrave, the defensive tackle, and Bud Dupree.
Yeah,
both of those guys leave. I think the defense can still be very good, but they're going to take a little bit of a hit. I think our defensive coordinator, he does less with more. I think he's a linebackers coach calling plays. So that bothers me a little bit. But if they can keep Bud Dupree and lose Hargrave and just replenish him, the defense can come back with those 2 bookends and be very good.
Absolutely.
And be top 5. So
that loss last week was killer. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was the worst. That absolutely was the worst loss of the season.
Yeah.
Beating teams they were supposed to beat, that kept them right in the mix. Even the Buffalo game, Buffalo all around, if you look at the quarterback and if you look at kind of the talent on offense was slightly better than Pittsburgh, that's fine.
Yeah.
I feel they still could have won that game, even despite the turnovers. But last week's game was the worst loss of the season. If they don't make the playoffs, it's
they
because
can look back to that game. Absolutely. And now, just really quick, who you got in this game? I mean, they got the Jets, they get the Jets.
Ravens.
The Ravens. I mean, they get the Ravens in Baltimore. Baltimore not starting their starters. I think it's a mistake. Baltimore, I think they need to keep that going. I know you put a big risk factor on Lamar Jackson, but I think you need to start him. I think he needs to play a quarter or two, just more so. But they're not going to, at least if you believe what they say. I'm all over Pittsburgh in this one, mainly because even if they don't start, they're not going to play the whole. Even if they did start, they're not going to play the whole game. I got Pittsburgh getting the victory in Baltimore because it won't matter. In reality, to Baltimore, they're pretty much set and ready to rock and roll where they are in the playoffs.
No, I agree with them sitting their starters. I don't have a problem with that. You've done everything you've done. You've earned the right to do that. Just like the Texans have earned the right to do that. If there's
but the Texans are pretenders, not contenders. So there's a difference.
Right. Well, and I say because the Ravens are contenders, rest guys. It's Pittsburgh Steelers. It's Pittsburgh Ravens. So let your young guys get a taste of the rivalry. They're going to still be fired up, particularly young people. You know what? With the way our offense is playing, sadly, I'm actually going to go with the Ravens on this.
Wow. Okay.
Because, look, when it comes to playing the Ravens for Pittsburgh, I think actually we match up, all things being equal, even with their starters. We match up very well defensively. I'm not scared of Lamar Jackson going off on us because, quite frankly, we did
He's
the best.
Do it anyway.
We did the best against him when we played him in week 4.
Right.
Teams have gotten better, but our defense has gotten better. We sacked him like 4 times, 3 interceptions. I'm not worried about that. Where Pittsburgh can't beat Baltimore is Baltimore has the most talented secondary in the league.
Yep.
They don't have an offense that can deal with Brandon Carr, Marlon Humphreys, Jimmy Smith, and Marcus Peters. If those guys play most of the game, we're not going to be able to throw the ball. Yep. Which means the Ravens, who are very well coached on defense, Wink Martindale is a very good defensive coordinator. That front seven, which isn't as good as past front sevens, but is still very good, is going to tee off on our protections and our run game because we can't throw the ball.
Right.
We're not going to throw the ball against that defense because of the talent they have in the secondary. So with Randy Fichtner against Wink Martindale, as far as coordinators go, that's not a matchup that favors us. So I just don't know if we'll be able, we might get a touchdown. I think the Ravens win. I think the Ravens win 17-10.
So you're saying the defense? I mean, the defense is going to play. The offense isn't. Okay, so you're saying the defense is going to beat the
Steelers. Thomas won't play either. But it doesn't matter because they still got those 3 corners.
Mm-hmm. And big signing by them, by the way. They picked up their big guy. Their defense, the name slipped my mind, but a big signing for them. Huge there.
Yeah.
So let me get your opinion on a couple things. Since you're, how much time do you got?
Oh, I'll be on.
Okay. Marshawn Lynch, Seattle Seahawks. Is he a red herring because they got Turbin? They picked up Turbin as well. Is he really? I think it's parts of me thinks it's stupid. First of all, I can't stand Marshawn Lynch. He's a punk. Simple as that. He's a punk. And not only that, he wasn't any good for the last 5 years of his career anyway. So the guy sucks anyway. So you get a unique nickname, and then all of a sudden everybody wants to be Marshawn Lynch. Well, screw him. The guy's never been really good anyway. That having been said, I think if they used it as a red herring and they're just going to run Turbin, it was a beautiful move. But if they expect Marshawn Lynch to go in there, the guy hasn't done jack garbage for the last 3 years anyway. Why the hell are they signing this guy anyway? It's because of a quote-unquote trust, with Russell Wilson and all that crap. Listen, he got that with Turbin, okay? I don't even want to hear that. Can they be that dumb to honestly think that this guy is going to go in and make a difference at the running back position for them?
Well, first, I think when it comes to Marshawn Lynch, I think he's a funny guy. I
think he's a punk.
I know.
And listen. I used to defend him with the media and everything. Okay, that guy hasn't been in front of a camera for over a year now, and then he goes out and makes an ass of himself after signing with them. Did you see that crap? See, that's the reason why. See, that's a punk move more so than having respect for either the Seattle Seahawks or the game. So he's a punk because he doesn't have respect for the game and or the team. So that's where he gets to that title of a punk. All right. So if he had respect for the game and or the team or the NFL at all, I would still be on the guy's side. But it's obvious he doesn't. So, but God, this is a really dumb move if they really honestly think that he's going to be there. So is he a red herring?
It all depends on what type of shape he's in. I mean, obviously coming straight off the couch, maybe give them something. I mean, when you're so depleted and beat up, he knows the offense. So when you're so beat up, I mean, what would be a better option? You brought in the other running back, as you said. So those two guys, maybe Marshawn may not be the bell cow, but he'll get some carries. He can, he'll still run hard and maybe fall forward for 3 yards. So if you can get that, we can have some semblance or some threat of a run game.
Right.
In terms of Marshawn's personality, again, I'm not hurt anybody. He's not obligated to talk to the media in that sense. I think back to a lot of, if anyone, I'll say it like this. In terms of Marshawn getting with the media and all that, I don't have an issue with it because we have a bunch of people like Bill Belichick and even Greg Popovich, just some of these other people who can see, have made it a point to speak to the media in a certain way. Like, Bill Belichick, the way he runs his press conferences, you ever watch him, he's painful to watch.
Oh, yeah.
I think Marshawn comes across to me as the guy that's just like, look, y'all, I know y'all have questions, but I just don't have that much to say to y'all. So it is what it is, and I'll do my little commercial. I'll have my when it comes to talking to y'all and answering a bunch of the questions you want to ask. I appreciate you, but I'm not really into it. Whereas Bill Belichick comes across as the guy who really believes that the media, we're at war with the media. This is a war with you. So I'm going to treat you as a hostile combatant. I just don't hear from Marshawn. I also think he comes across as a little bit more introverted. Not that he doesn't have a person, just, I don't know if having all those cameras in front of him when he's not sitting one-on-one or something like that, if that's really his setting, which is fine. I don't think that makes it personally. I don't think that makes it. I just think that just makes him a guy that's just like, I'm not really into this, and I'm not going to pretend. That's just, thank you, and that's it. I don't have much to say.
Got it. So do me a favor really quick, Bryce. I want you to hop back out into the screen room and then come back in. Your microphone's beginning to break a little bit, and that's usually the case. So if you just hop back out and come back in, and then it'll probably come back because there's a couple more games I got to cover, and we're going to have to cover them because it doesn't look like we're going to get Cuervo. So do that. Hop back out and then hop back in if you could do that for me. Yeah. Got it. So we're going to have him hop back out, and we'll bring back Bryce. Good points as well as that is concerned. But Bill Belichick is really simple. He'll answer a question if it's not stupid. He doesn't want to answer the question, but at least he'll do it. More so than Marshawn Lynch is, I think it's more of, I just want to be a jerk. Listen, Bill Belichick has been in front of those guys for 20 years. So that gets old for him. And I get it. And that part makes sense to me, more so than a Marshawn Lynch. But it is what it is. It's a little bit of a different situation. Hopefully we get Bryce back, and hopefully he's not having internet problems and getting all squared away. So what we'll do is I'm going to go on and move on to the games that we have not covered here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. It was Philadelphia at the New York Giants. Big, obviously, if the Eagles win, they're in. When you're in, simple as that. But the Giants been playing very good football in reality at home. And that's one of the things I worry about as far as this game is concerned. Okay? So, you think about the Philadelphia Eagles. They lost this season 3 weeks ago when they lost against Miami. That was a horrible loss for them. So when they lost that game, it put everybody on notice on what kind of football team that the Philadelphia Eagles are, which are not very good. Listen, if either Dallas or Philadelphia gets out of the first round, I'll be shocked. Shocked. But Philadelphia, you say whatever you want. Carson Wentz has actually been playing really good ball. They're 8-7. New York's only 4-11. But I'm going to tell you right now, The difference between a lot of football teams that are 4-11 is when you see a football team getting better and they're 4-11, you can kind of see how it stands out. It's a little bit with the Giants. Now, granted, I'm not going to say that Jones is the best quarterback in the NFL. That'd be a stupid statement, and I'm not going to go that far. But that having been said, in an important game like this, I mean, they get to play spoiler. I mean, huge spoiler, because if the Dallas Cowboys win, that really puts, that puts the kibosh on the whole thing. So now the NFC season has been god awful. So right now, Philadelphia is riding a 3-game winning streak, which they haven't seen all year long in reality. And then they come to the finale and beating the Giants. That would put them in a pretty good situation. And by the way, whatever you say, Philadelphia was in the Super Bowl a few years ago and won it back in. It all starts over. It's a new season. And if they can change the perspective of your football team, hey, we win, we're in. The playoffs start now. And if we can go on a 4-game winning streak on top of the 3 that we have already, we win the Super Bowl. That's how bad this division of football is. Oh, my God. Take a 4-game winning streak in order for them to get into the playoffs. But it is what it is. So if they can change it, they can find out what they can do to make the playoffs and stay there. So, but the problem is that the Giants have actually been playing good football. Okay? They've won their last 2, albeit against Miami and Washington, crap teams, but they still played well in those games. So, and when you think about this, what popped into my mind about this game, and I went back and looked, against the Miami Dolphins, they had a 19-3 lead, and against New York and against the Jets, they were 17-3. Those were the leads, 2 touchdowns. Big 2 touchdown leads, and +1 when you think Washington. And so you think about the other thing, though, is and then the last 2 games with Philadelphia, okay, you've seen the Eagles having to rally to come back and win those games. The 23-17 overtime loss in Pittsburgh in Philadelphia. You think about that, you get to play the spoiler here. So look out. Now, that being said, Saquon Barkley was the guy you expected, okay? So he had a huge game in reality. 279 yards from scrimmage. 189 of those were rushing yards. Okay, the Eagles have the number 3 ranked defense, though, only allowing 88 yards rushing each game. And they limited Barkley to only 66 yards on 17 carries on December 9th. Last season, Barkley ran for 100 yards in both games and had touchdown runs of 50 and 51. So, in reality, you take those 2 plays out, he's around 50 yards. So Barkley has a tough time against this defense. So that is huge. Rashawn Douglas is expected to start because Ronald Darby was placed on IR with a hip injury. So Darby's going to miss the game. And so that's not good for them. So Douglas is going to have to step it up. So, which, by the way, you think about it, Douglas, he got the nod over Maddox, okay, who returns in the nickel slot. So just everybody watch out for that. You'll probably see those guys, but Douglas is getting the start against over Maddox. But you'll see both of them. The Eagles also have to see something regarding Daniel Jones on the defensive side of the ball, okay, they haven't seen Daniel Jones because last time it was Eli Manning. So they haven't seen him gone head-to-head with him. Jones missed the 23-17 game earlier this month. He had a sprained ankle. That's when Eli Manning played. So now Jones is coming off his best game as a professional. I think it was like, 28 of 42, 352 yards, 5 touchdowns, and no interceptions. And that was against the Redskins. And by the way, if I'm not mistaken, I think that was in Washington. Let me just look. No, I think they were actually at home now that I'm thinking about it. Let's see here. Washington. No, that was in Washington. So that's something else right there. So you look at this as far as that is concerned. Last game for Eli Manning. Does anybody care? I know I don't. But the importance of this game for the Philadelphia Eagles, it should say right away that they need to get this guy back on track. They need to get this guy in there. They need to, but I don't know if it's going to happen. Philadelphia, a lot to work for. It should be very interesting to see what way they go. But I'm not a great big fan of that whole situation. And I hate this game because Washington takes on Dallas. And that game is in Dallas. It's going to flip either way. And if the Dallas Cowboys are the luckiest team in the NFL, which normally are, they're going to win that game and Philadelphia is going to lose. And I go back to what Tarvin said. They have got to be the luckiest team in the NFL. He used different words, but that's what the gist of it was. And I don't know. Has the luck ran out? I don't know. So those two games are huge. Both NFC matchups. Philadelphia, though, you see that whole situation, they're on the road. I'm taking the Giants, and I'm picking the Dallas Cowboys to win. That hurts because I don't want to pick the Dallas Cowboys. I'd love for them not to make the playoffs. But the part of me that likes Dak Prescott, okay, the Giants playing as well as they are, if Saquon Barkley can get more than 100 yards or around 80 and 90 yards, it'd be great for Saquon. And not only that, get him in the passing play. So Philadelphia, if you're not ready for Barkley getting the ball on third down or maybe even second down, on these screen passes, shame on you. But the defense has been playing very well. I know, I hear it. I hear you, Todd. Todd's got an opinion about that selection. But I think that's going to happen. The Dallas Cowboys, they're the luckiest team in the NFL. Okay? They can be the only team that's going to end up at a 500 record and make the playoffs. Philadelphia, I just don't – I want to because I like what's happening as far as it's concerned with Carson Wentz. I like the guy. I like it. Now, the guy can't stay in the season. He did the whole season. Look what he did all season. Average at best. And I'm not saying that the football gods are always going to fly up on the Dallas Cowboys, but this year, that game in Miami, when Philadelphia lost that game in Miami, kept the Dallas Cowboys alive. Now, Philadelphia getting the victory against them, I didn't pick the Dallas Cowboys to win that game. I don't know. This will be the test for Carson Wentz. Can he come and show up in a big game? Because even though the record is what it is, okay, this is the biggest game of this guy's career because he hasn't been in the playoffs ever, okay? They finished 9-7. Yeah, 9-7 they'd finish. But if they lose that game, that is going to be huge. Because if Dallas wins, they'll improve to 5-1 in the division. And if Philadelphia loses, they drop to 4-2, and that's the reason why the Dallas Cowboys would get the nod for the playoffs. And a home game, by the way, just to let everybody know. So it is what it is. So I don't know. If they could get it done, I want, just because the Dallas Cowboy hater in me, I want to see the Dallas Cowboys lose and not make it. But this season, if anything is going to save Jason Garrett's job, it'll be a victory against Washington and a Philly. And I'm not saying they're going to do it. I'm not saying they'd have to renew his contract. Everybody's saying, hey, fire Garrett, fire Garrett, fire Garrett. Listen, they don't even have to fire Garrett. Okay? All they got to do is make an announcement is that they're not, and they won't say they fired him, by the way. And I'm going to be the first one to say it on record. They're never going to say they fired Jason Garrett. They're going to say we were not going to renew his contract. Okay, now granted, we all know that means fired, but they won't let those words go out of their lips. So I don't know. And as I got some time here, so I'm glad I don't know, is he there? There he is. Yeah, God, the guy's good looking. Makes me sick. Makes me sick for you to be that good looking. Hey, and I'm glad you're back because I just see I managed the last games with the two games that, the Dallas Cowboys, they get Washington at home. Philadelphia on the road at the Met. Listen, I don't trust the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay. I don't see them getting the victory. I mean, they've been rallying to come back in games that they've been out of, and they've just been able to get lucky to get them. Daniel Jones has been playing good for the last 3 games. I'm not saying he's great, but he's been playing well. And just for the luck of the Irish for the Dallas Cowboys, they're going to beat the Washington Redskins. Philadelphia's going to lose, and the Cowboys are going to be in the playoffs. So it makes me want to puke up my breakfast. But I think that's the way it's going to end up happening because that's the kind of season it's been. And the game that you can go back and look upon is when Philadelphia lost that game in Miami. They had an opportunity to take a stance within that division and run with it, and they blew it.
Sonny, the Dallas Cowboys will beat the Washington Redskins, but you're not going to be throwing up your breakfast because I think after last week's win, the Philadelphia Eagles defensively will make Danny Ducks, not Danny Dimes, Danny Ducks, turn the football over, which he is prone to do.
Yes, he is.
And the Eagles will come out with the victory. Because one thing we know about Danny Ducks is that he loves to turn the football over. And the Eagles defensively have got some playmakers. They will get after you. Boy, I tell you who's really good for the Eagles. That Brandon Graham. Oh, I would love for him.
Oh, yeah, he's awesome. Yeah,
I would love for him to be a Steeler. I mean, I think that defense forces 3 turnovers, and they win that game, and they go to the playoffs, and the Dallas Clown Bums go home for the year. 8-8,
hallelujah, baby,
no playoff.
Hallelujah.
I can't wait. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. If this Clown Bum team goes 8-8, can you imagine if they were to lose to the Redskins?
Oh God, yeah. Oh God.
The Eagles. Just imagine this: the Eagles lose to the Giants, but then the Clown Bums lose to the Redskins, and then the Eagles get in. Yeah, I mean, we already know what it is.
Justice.
I don't want to because Sonny, you're in Texas, right?
Yes, I am. Now I'm 20 miles away from Dallas. Believe me.
Listen, no conversation for all your viewers. I know you got many of them. They love your show. I want them to hear me on this. No conversation about Dallas moving forward should start without Jerry Jones removing himself as the GM. And getting away from all football operations. He has been a dud as a GM. He has been a failure as a GM. There is no GM in the NFL
history,
in the entire NFL, that would get to screw up year after year and be this mediocre and keep their job.
Yep.
He only gets to do that because he's got the privilege of owning the team.
Yep.
He considers himself some football guy. And I'll even give you here's how you need to look at Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is good from 1 to 22. He knows talent. That does not make a good GM. Good GMs like the Ravens, Steelers, Patriots, what they're trying to build in Seattle,
3.
You know, those teams are built 22 to 54.
Mm-hmm.
That's where GMs in the NFL separate themselves. And Jerry has been as good as he is 1 to 22, which I think he knows talent. They've got some talented players. He's so bad at 22 to 54 at team building. That team is never going to get over the hump as long as he is the GM. And they don't really have anything about their team that's elite. The most elite part of their team is the tailback.
Yeah.
What other part of the Dallas Cowboys is actually elite? Not, the offensive line used to be. Now, okay, maybe they're the second part of their team that's elite. But there's no one on their defense that's really elite. There's no Brandon Graham type of player. There's good players. So I think you couple that with a bad GM and a roster that's poorly put together with a coach that he picked who is not a good head coach, and you get what you get. Below average, mediocre to below average.
I get it. But yeah, I don't know. I look at what's going to happen. First of all, you're never going to get rid of Jerry Jones as the GM because he
owns the team.
Well, first of all, he owns the team. Second of all, when you fire your coach after you win the Super Bowl, okay, not 1 but 2, okay, that tells you where he's at, and you're not going to be able to move a guy like that out of that job. That's number 1, okay, since he's the owner. Number 2. They need a coach, but the problem is, as far as Dallas is concerned, is you can't have a good head coach in this league and have Jerry Jones be in the guy's ear. Because one of the things that came out just yesterday, Doug Marrone probably getting fired at the end of the year. First thing I thought, man, Dallas Cowboys could use Doug Marrone. Oh my God, would that be really good? Because he has a way of not only taking care of the defense or the offense like he needs to. They already got somewhat of a pretty good defense. So I was sitting there. But Doug Marrone he'd be in the same situation as he is in Jacksonville with somebody else calling the shots. And that's the reason why that wouldn't work, although Doug Marrone would be really good. The difference between the Dallas Cowboys and anybody else is twofold. Number 1, when you're the Dallas Cowboys, you are football. That's football. You can't hire a head coach of mediocre mentality or a mediocre coach. This is the Dallas Cowboys. Now, granted, you made it that way because of your success as a marketing genius that you are. Okay, you've got to go out and get a name. It can't be just any conspicuous dude or a Freddie Kitchens, or you got to get a name. I'm telling you right now, I know it sounds incredibly stupid. I don't know whatever it can end up happening. Sean Payton lives 12 miles from me. Okay, now I'm not saying that they can get him, but I'll tell you right now, I know it sounds stupid. First round draft picks. Get you some Sean Payton, swallow that new contract that he signed on the extension in September, which I didn't know before I was making this, but you eat that. You're the Dallas Cowboys, you're Jerry Jones, you eat the money, okay, because you don't care. The simple fact of the matter is money is no object. There's one guy that can coach this team right, and that's Sean Payton. There's nobody else out there right now that I can think of that can go in and do what has to be done for the Dallas Cowboys in order for him to be successful than Sean Payton. There's not anybody out there right now.
Sonny, this is the part of the show, and you know it comes, where I have to Sonny, you need to be drug tested right now. Someone needs to come test you right now, and you know why. If you think Sean Payton is going to go to the Cowboys with the control he has in New Orleans and put up with Jerry Jones's nonsense, then you do need to be drug tested, Sonny. You really do.
That's the only one. Right now, name me a coach that could go into Dallas and be successful.
No, but that's why Sonny Clark needs to be that's why Sonny Clark needs to be drug tested. Because you're right. No one's gonna go in there worth their salt when Jerry Jones is the GM.
Yeah.
They're not going to want to do it. And he's not going to bring them in there because they're going to have too big of a voice. They're going to come in immediately and say, look, if I was Jerry Jones, here's to your point. You're right. I would go Sean Payton, but I would give him, I would step away from football operations, let Steven run it and say, You and Sean run it. Or I would throw a bunch of money at a guy to come in and give him power, like Mike Tomlin, to come in, run my team. But he's not going to do that. Those elite coaches, like
you say Mike Tomlin?
Of course I said Mike Tomlin, because he's the top 3 coach. You know what it is. But here you go, But same thing with Bill Belichick. Sure, he should go get those guys, Sonny. Of course he should. Like, anyone who knows football knows he should. They're not going to coach under that guy. Yeah. If you're Mike Tomlin, why in the world would you want to go coach for a guy who's not going to set you up for success?
Yep. Not only that, the total lack of respect, regardless who walks in there, is going to be there.
Yeah, too. I mean, look, Sonny, you're good. Texas better
happen.
Get ready. Texas better get ready, because it's going to be Urban Meyer or Lincoln Riley or one of these people, and that's who's going to bring in. You better get ready. Strap in.
Yeah, you're right. And by the way, and it's not going to be any different. You're right. And the Cowboys are going to be in the same position that they're in right now, barely hanging on for a playoff spot or whatever the case may be. And really, I'm going to tell you, there's only one coach that can actually do it. There's only one coach that can maybe go in there and say, listen, now,
and you say Sean Payton.
This is the way that we got it. Well, besides Sean Payton, there's only one other one. And he hasn't been a coach in a very long time. And that's your boy, Bill Cowher. Bill Cowher is the only one that could walk in there and say, listen, you want to win football games? You listen to me. You want to make the playoffs? You'll listen to me. You want to make a Super Bowl? You'll listen to me. Now, if you want to play some of this nonsense that you want to keep playing, that you've been doing, that's been unsuccessful for 23 years, then you can go ahead and continue doing that, and you'll get the same. Remember, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting the same results, okay? Or a different result. That's not going to happen. It'll be insanity here in Dallas. That's the only coach that I can think of. I'm going through my mind that still has a fresh mind, which, by the way, when he went ahead and laid it down and said, I'm gone for 6 years, guess what year it is? It's year number 6 without Bill Cowher. And I'm telling you right now, he is the only one that could walk into Dallas and demand that kind of thing. I don't know if he'll ever get it or how long it will last, but I'm telling you right now, he's the only one. And I've thought about it. I can't think of anybody else that can go in there and demand or command that kind of respect to Jerry Jones, and he might get it. Because the last person that did it was Bill Parcells.
I mean, that's my thing. And but see, Sonny, again, you're right. But if I'm gonna fire Jimmy Johnson, if I'm gonna let if Bill Parcells walks out the door, if those 2 guys are gone, then who can come in here? And if those 2 guys are gone, then who can come in here? I mean, look, you're saying, like, okay, when it comes to guys like Bill Parcells, who has famously said, they want you to cook the dinner but not buy the groceries or whatever it is. That's speaking to the fact that he may not want total control, but he wants a lot of say in what they do. And he wants to be able to say, okay, you got these 2 players. No, I got these 2 players. You need to trust that I know what I'm talking about. And Jerry just does not have, he has to win, but he has to win his way. Yeah,
he's got to have his hands in it, because if he doesn't, he doesn't feel like I did the job.
Now you want to talk about now to your point, like Marshawn, no respect. You want to talk about a punk. Jerry Jones acts like a punk. I'm gonna tell you this right now.
100% right there with
25 years. Think about this. The Steelers had a 25-year drought of winning a Super Bowl. But in between that, there was some AFC Championship appearances. There was a Super Bowl loss. Like, there was success. The Dallas Cowboys have not been to an NFC Championship game in 25 years.
Sickening.
There is no GM on the planet that'll be able to keep their job with this type of ineptitude. So stop. He's the problem, and there's not going to be any coach coming to save him.
Absolutely. It's almost like a guy. It's almost like a guy who goes through 5 wives. Sooner or later, you're going to have to say, well, maybe there's something wrong with me. It's just that thing. I mean, you don't get it. You obviously don't get it. But here's the thing. Guys that are like that, you know what they say? Yep, there's something wrong with me. But you want to know what? I'm not doing anything different. And there's nothing you can do about it. And that's Jerry Jones.
And that's Jerry Jones.
If you go through your second and third, your second marriage, and go into your third with a fresh mind thinking I have to make some changes, then you might have a successful third marriage. If you don't, you won't. And that's the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are the fifth marriage of the man who can't get his shit straight, and that's exactly what it is. So, and that's it, and it's not going to change unless he decides. Now,
that's funny.
You know what? And this is what he doesn't want. This is what he doesn't want. He doesn't want to go ahead and give that full control to Steven and let him go do his job, because if they go and win a Super Bowl, it will just prove exactly what ended up happening, which is he should have had his nose out of this a long time ago. And that's an ego. That's not an ego burst. That's an ego crush. And then he's got to get old and senile before it won't matter. And that's a problem.
Yep. So they're not winning that division this year. I got the Eagles closing it out and winning it. The Dallas Clown Bums go home. They could be sitting right with the Steelers.
So. I hope so.
The playoffs.
I hope so. I mean, just because we'll have something to laugh at all season long, okay? All off season long, we'll have something to laugh about. This is going to be great. But something tells me, and I don't know why it is, but something tells me that Philadelphia is going to lose today. Dallas is going to freaking win, and then we'll never hear the end of it, because for 7 straight days we'll be talking about the turnaround of the Dallas Cowboys making it into the playoffs, and that's going to make me puke up my dinner from last night. So not only do I lose my breakfast, I lose with my dinner from last night. That's how bad it's going to be. But I think that's what's going to happen, and it's I mean, don't get me wrong, Bryce. I know who the better football teams are. Okay, let's be honest. Philadelphia is a better football team, okay, in reality. But the Washington and Dallas team, I have to pull out the couch potato quarter to figure out who's better. But as far as personnel, Dallas Cowboys had the better football team. Okay, that's personnel. Because guess what?
True.
Personnel there all day long. But if you got someone who doesn't know how to call the plays or doesn't have a clue, which is what's going on. I mean, come on. You depend upon a washed up quarterback who couldn't make it as your offensive coordinator. Okay. In other words, you found a scapegoat, but everybody knows it's Jason Garrett. So, I mean, they tried to fly that to the public, and that's what it is. And the fact he went ahead and he lived and died by that, because I will tell you, I've watched this guy on the sidelines during these games. Okay. He's not over in the offensive coordinator's ear at a vital time. He's not there. And so he's living and dying by the offensive coordinator and his investment in chapstick, to where he can walk into Jerry's office the next day and say, "Do you want cherry for me to kiss your ass today, Jerry?" Jerry? Vanilla. Hey, they got a new one. It's vanilla. I'll kiss your ass with that one. You know what? The stock is almost gone. And here's the thing. They won't fire him. They just won't renew his contract, and they won't say they fired him. They just say, "We didn't renew his contract.
We didn't renew his contract."
It's pretty sick. But at the same, because Jerry loves this guy. There is no listen.
Boy.
The guy took over for Wade Phillips many years ago. Had strong football teams up until that point. The only reason why he's there to this day is because Jerry's got some strong love for him. So I don't know if he has the pictures of the sheep, or the guy in Cincinnati had Lewis. I mean, he had some pretty damning pictures for him to keep that job for as long as he did. Same thing that with Jason. Jason's got something on Jerry somewhere. So
yeah. I mean, he loves, but that speaks to the type of culture that Jerry has cultivated. I mean, this is my hand-picked guy. So if I let him go, what does that say about me?
That's
it's
exactly
all about him.
It's
all about him. I mean, it's that culture is not good.
Yep.
No, if I'm a top-tier coach, I don't want any parts of that situation.
Yep. So, but and the point that was put right up here from Todd, he didn't interfere with Parcells for the first 2 years. After that, he got involved with it, and that's the reason. And Parcells can respect it, and he will say all the right things at the Hall of Fame and everything else. But Parcells wanted to rip his head off, and there ain't no question about it because that's Bill Parcells. Anybody that knows Parcells and the type of person that he is knows that and good. Although he'll say, "Oh, it was a great, it was great." It wasn't. So again, only one. Well, Bill Cowher's the only one that really can go in there and demand whatever he is, and he might be able to get it for 2 years. But if he's not successful almost immediately or very quickly, he'll have Jerry in his ear again, and then now go and now float to the side as well. So, but
he should go to a guy like Bill, and same with Bill Belichick. He should go and say, "Here, Bill," but he'd have to go say, "Here are the keys to my kingdom. I'm stepping away contractually from all football operations. You and Steven run it."
Yeah.
It don't have to be. Or it would have to be, "Bill, you run it, and me and Steven are taking it back."
Absolutely. And that's, hey, by the way, Bill Belichick won't go there. Bill Belichick, if he wants, he stays right where he's at. If he wants that, and he can demand any money he wants, by the way, just to let you know, whatever the salary will be, if Bill wants it, he gets it. Simple as that. And so there's no need for him to go down to Dallas. Not only that, it will tarnish his reputation anyway, especially if they don't start winning. So, but now, really quick, I want to ask you, and because I respect your opinion,
I appreciate that.
as far as the New England Patriots, Bill Belichick, Tom Brady. Tom Brady makes it into the greatest 100 and all that crap. Okay. Now, this is the only problem with the holidays. I listen to national radio, which I don't do except if I'm on vacation. God, it's so painful to the ears. All right. And this one came back to Bill Belichick, Tom Brady. Tom Brady's not a good quarterback because it's Bill Belichick. How much of that do you believe? How much do you think is Bill Belichick, and how much is Tom Brady is the GOAT because he is the GOAT?
I think. Listen. That's first of all, Sonny. I think it is a legitimate conversation because. First of all, Bill Belichick is to me the greatest head coach.
Absolutely, they need to change. They need to change the.
He understands, and here's why too. Not just schematically, but his willingness to adapt and change his offense, and adapt and change his style around his players. That's what makes him so elite. Mm-hmm. Now, having said that, he was able to adapt around maybe the most from a passing game standpoint, the most efficient all-around quarterback I've ever seen in Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna give it 60 to Tom and 40 to Bill, but because the NFL is a coach's league, I will give Bill that 40%. Now, Tom Brady is Tom Brady. Tom Brady's best quarterback I've ever seen play the position. Mm-hmm. Because he does not. Aside from like your only human type of interceptions, he does not make mistakes.
Right.
Every ball is on point. Everything that they said about him as a passer that he couldn't do out of the league, out of college, he has exceeded arm strength, accuracy, touch, a placement of the ball, just all of that. The guy is, even when he's tired, so consistently did that. With any type of weapon. You put him in that system, he had ungodly amounts of patience as a quarterback. Because he never would get out of character. He would run that thing. You play cover two, I'm just going to throw it short. I'm going to attack every weakness. I'm going to continue to be accurate. I'm going to continue to attack you with all the physical skills that I have. You put all that together. Look, Bill is great, but it's one thing to be great and have great players. Another thing to be great and have the best quarterback to ever live. So I'm putting that on Tom, 60%, but because the NFL is a coach's league, 40% goes to Bill.
I go 70-30, and I'll give you the reason why.
Okay.
I'll give you the reason why.
70 to Tom, right?
70 to Tom.
Okay.
And the reason being is and all I got to say is how many come from behind victories does this guy have?
Right.
Okay, you can have the system all day long, but if you don't have the guy to make the plays to get the game in the victory form, I mean, literally taking the jaws of defeat and just yanking them out. Super Bowl Atlanta Falcons is that's
the greatest game I've ever seen played. In terms of the greatest comeback ever.
That's Tom Brady. You don't get that with the game manager. You get that with the game changer, and that's
true.
That's what he is. You get a game manager in there, they fall to the Atlanta Falcons. They don't even come close. Okay, game managers are great. I mean, if that's what you need to be great, you need a game changer. Tom Brady has changed it. All this crap about cheating and everything else. Listen, I'm very simple. Every single football team cheats. The New England Patriots are just stupid. They just got caught doing it. So I don't believe all this. Oh, we don't cheat. We don't do that. Yeah, you do. Every single one. You're not trying. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. Every single team does it. They just
Strap in.
Exactly. So just because they're dumb and get caught doing it, don't mean that they're a great football. By the way, and Deflategate is the dumbest thing because whatever the case may be, he still has to deliver the football. Did it help him get the grip on the ball? Yeah, but guess what? He still delivered the ball, and he probably would have done it even if it wasn't grip. So who cares? All these dumb things about this quote unquote cheating and Videogate. Listen, that's going on every single.
They are cheaters, Sonny. They do cheat.
They cheat. Oh, even the Steelers, as much as I love them, they cheat too. They'll figure out how to do it. They'll cheat too. You're not. Yeah. Hey, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. And there's a reason why that saying is a statement. Okay, and that statement goes back years. This is not something that's brand new because the Patriots are cheating. That's been going on years and years and years and years down the road. So it's that. But listen, if Tom Brady is on his own 30. He's got to get to the 30-yard line to get a field goal. I turn the TV off, okay? You want to know why? Because I don't need to watch it. I know what's going to happen. And that's the difference between a good quarterback and a great quarterback, and in this case, the greatest of all time. That's the reason why I sit there. If it wasn't for Bill Belichick, he wouldn't be there. Yeah, but guess what? He's there, okay? But Bill Belichick's not the one out there on the football field completing the passes, bringing them back from how much 28 in the Super Bowl and going back, or they were down 24 in the Super Bowl. That's not because of Bill Belichick. That's Tom Brady. And if you can't see that was Tom Brady coming back in the Super Bowl, you do have a bias. And I get it. I understand. I hate the Dallas Cowboys. I hate the fact that matter of fact, I hated them more in the 90s than I do today. Because they were so damn good back in there. So hating them, there was a reason.
They were fun to watch in the 90s.
Oh God, were they ever? They were great. And not only that, I loved Troy Aikman. Loved the guy. And by the way, if you ever get an opportunity to hear the story of him, get in there and listen to it because it's a great story about time. You go back, and if there's something on YouTube, I just know the story. If there's something on YouTube about the story of Troy Aikman and going back there, or what was the deal? His agent. Get his book and read those stories about Troy Aikman from his agent, Lee Steinberg. So those are good stuff there. So, but that's all I got. I mean, of course, we knocked out 2.5 hours because something happened to our internet and we were down for like 20 minutes. But that's all I got. I mean, you want to talk? You know what I hate about this week, Bryce? It messes up my picks because I'm going to win 5 games this week. Because I should just go and say every name that I have here, just switch them. And I'll have a better chance. You watch. I'm just stating this right now. If I just switch them, I'll have a great week. But I'm too stubborn. I won't switch them. But that's what it is. That's why I hate week 17. But I love week number 1. So it's one of those weird things.
It's and I'm sad Cuervo's not here because his Bears laid an absolute offensive egg last week.
Oh God. That was really bad. Although I picked them this week. I picked them to beat Minnesota because Minnesota, from what I'm hearing, first of all, Kirk Cousins is not starting. I don't know. I don't have TV on yet, and the game's already started. So from what I hear, Cousins might not start or not going to start, which means they're going to take their players out after a half, and the Bears will come back and win the football game. Of course.
Hey, listen, Sonny, I'm all for. Listen, I am a firm component. 2 things. One, you made me switch my percentages. I'm going to go Brady 65%, Belichick 35%. I'm not going as high as 70, but again, the only reason why is because when you see this type of greatness, coaching really matters in the NFL. You got to have the players. I give even more so than basketball. Coaching is so important, and those guys, I mean, they're together. They've been unbeatable. If you notice, teams that have beat them in the biggest moments, they never out-schemed them per se. You know, they got their front four going. They blitzed their protection, just overwhelmed them physically. They couldn't do anything with it. You know, that's how you really beat that team. You know, very rarely you're going to trick them or anything like that. So,
and just to throw this out there, if you go back into the archives, which is only 2 or 3 times a year, and see the games that they lost, weren't to any playoff contending football teams. It was to Miami. It was to Tennessee.
A division, yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about
teams that can, if you can line up. Listen, if you're really fast and can outrun them, or if you can line up and punch them in the mouth and they can't respond, you can win, and that's important. And then I guess the second thing
that surprises them by doing it, and that's why I'm saying Tennessee, not a playoff team, Miami, not a playoff team. That if you go back and look in there, and this is off the top of my head, I'm just throwing this out. You go back and look at those losses; they aren't the Green Bay Packers. They aren't the New Orleans Saints. They're
rarely the Steelers. Rarely,
maybe a Steeler here and there, but I would say a good 80% of their losses were to crap teams that weren't a damn nickel in the season that they lost to them. That's just a guess, but I bet you I'm right.
Sonny, my second point to that is you are not. Listen, I feel when you earn the right to sit your players in the final week, do it. That's why I'm not mad at the Texans. I'm not mad at the Ravens. You have earned that right. It is great when you get to look at young guys on tape in that final game, particularly playing against other teams that are playing for something. Yes. I want to see how my young guys. I want to see how my young guys respond to that.
I like that.
I'm really, if I'm a coach, I'm into this game because I want to see who on this roster, my 22 to 54, who am I keeping?
Yep.
Who wants to win?
A lot of jobs are on the line today in those games, by the way. A lot of jobs are on the line.
Yeah. But so if I'm Baltimore, I'm like, that's why I don't think we're going to win because them young guys, listen, if we can't score and we keep this game close, they're going to have something to play for in close because it's a rivalry game. They want to make this roster next year.
Absolutely.
Justice Hill is a guy who can really run for the Ravens. Justice Hill is a downhill runner who is not going to back down from contact.
Yep.
You know, they've got a lot of front 7 guys that they want to get a look at. They still got those 3 corners that our offense and coordinator are not going to be able to do anything with. So I don't think we're going to, I want to say Pittsburgh, my heart. I'm going to go with my head. 17-10 Ravens.
17-10. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Pittsburgh because they got something to play for. That's the only thing.
Okay.
That's the only thing.
You just don't have an offense, Sonny. The offense is historically bad.
If this is a regular game. This is not a regular game. So,
the offense is just too bad, Sonny. Yeah, it's just bad.
It's one of those things that, when you see it week in and week out,
yeah,
especially this year for Pittsburgh. And I always want Pittsburgh to be. You want to know why I want Pittsburgh to be as good as they are? Is because they have the more championships than anybody else, and not only that, they've done it in a class way. And as much as if you want to be the Dallas Cowboys and got all your championships, and the same thing with New England. No offense, they haven't done as classy as Pittsburgh has done. You say whatever you want about them, and not only that, when you change a culture of a sport, okay, and the Rooney Rule, as much as it's almost being ignored today, that was a big step in reality for that. That's class. That's class intensified. And not only that, keeping a coach, which, by the way, I think should have been fired 3 years ago.
I know, because you're on your drugs. Because you're on your drugs, Sonny.
The loyalty of that franchise to the coaches. Listen, I can name 3 in the last 30 years. That's it, guys. I can name 6 from Houston. All right. So when you got 3 of 30, there's something right about the franchise. You have 3 coaches for the last 30 years. Good night. Give me a break. And I just got a message. He's going to send our pics. Cuervo is a military man, so sometimes he gets knocked away when he doesn't want to be. Son, this was a week, and he kind of warned me about it this morning. So, but
respect to you and your service, Cuervo.
Definitely.
You're
so
listening.
that's all I got. Is there anything I'm missing?
Sonny, the only thing I'm going to say is what a whirlwind in Jacksonville. I mean, it's Tom's out. Your boy, I know you like Doug Marrone. I think he's going to be out too.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be a clean house.
Did you see them backtrack on that how it got leaked?
But they didn't really backtrack. They kind of did, but they didn't.
They're still gonna fire him. I mean, come on. I mean, that guy don't. Hey, listen. A leak like that means they're talking about it too.
Exactly.
Very serious. Not just rumors. Well, maybe we're gonna get rid of. No. This guy is gone. Okay, that's what the report was. It wasn't. Well, they're thinking very hard on whether or not they're gonna. No, this guy was fucking gone. Okay, he's gone. He's still gonna be gone, and they backtrack on it to try to make. Oh no! That's not the final decision. That the biggest cover job I've ever seen in the NFL this past week, and my Jacksonville Jaguars got to be right in the middle of it. But the bad thing is, for Marrone 2 years ago, had such a good football team, and he had Tom Coughlin way too much in his ear. But you know the funny thing about that whole thing is they're keeping the GM. They're keeping the GM, and I went wrong. I can never remember the guy's name. I got to look it up every time.
Caldwell, I think.
Caldwell. They're keeping Caldwell, and they're getting rid of Doug Marrone. Oh my God!
Are you happy about that, Sonny?
No, do it the other way. Get rid of Caldwell, okay? Because here's what it is, and I'll just make this statement: when you're the GM of this football team and you let the guy go that went over to LA. Okay, yeah. You didn't do a good enough job to keep him. I mean, you didn't say now doggone it, that's not going to happen. This son of a gun can kick. He cannot play for another down for the rest of this year. He ain't going nowhere. And see,
right.
He didn't have that. He had what's his name? Coughlin in his ear saying, no, we're getting rid of him. Screw this. I mean, no, if he had the stones, he would have said, no, that guy can go ahead and sit. We just won't write him a check. He's going to be right back here next year because we're going to have a different football team next year. And then here's the thing. If the GM didn't know that Caldwell was going to be gone, that scares me too. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If the GM didn't know that Caldwell was going to be out of there, that makes me have no faith in it whatsoever. That means he doesn't have his eyes open to exactly what was going on. He didn't have his ear to the pavement, listen to the players bitch and moan about all the fines and everything else that they were doing. This guy's not. Listen, Doug Marrone can't do anything about it. He's not the VP of operations. Okay, he can't say, "Well, no, we're not going to fine you." No, that comes from above. See, the fact that he didn't have his ear to the ground, hearing all that stuff, that tells me that is GM problem. And both the GM and Coughlin should have been gone. You got to keep a Doug Marrone. This guy's super bad. He's going to have a job in 3 weeks if this ends up happening. He'll be on. Someone will be on the phone offering him crazy money. He'll be there. You watch.
I mean, I can see it. I mean, we'll have to see. Well, Sonny, I've got to actually get out of here, but
I do too. We're just talking football. I love it when you come on. You're more than welcome.
I love coming on, Sonny. We have a great time.
Just to let you know, the Couch Potato Sports Show is expanding. If you want to do a show, you're one of the people that I have. If you find a time zone that you want to do it and do a show, I'm going to get you in there. So and you can go out and you can talk all you want. And so I'm expanding the show to whoever wants to get up on it. I got Todd's going to come in and do a show. You would be a perfect one. In case you didn't know it, you're super bad at this too. Not only are you good looking, you're super bad at analysis. So there you go.
I appreciate that, and we have to think about that. We might have to give that a conversation, man. I really appreciate that, buddy.
You got it, my man. All right, so that's gonna do it for us on the Couch Potato Sports Show.
Next week, we're gonna be here next week.
Are we gonna be? When you ask a stupid question, you get a stupid answer. Of course, we're gonna be.
Man.
But here's the thing: we'll be on 2 hours before the game. for whatever the first game. And the games for Saturday, I'm not sure if we're going to be on Thursday or Friday to cover those two games for Saturday, but we'll be on Sunday morning, 2 hours before the playoff games.
All right. Sounds good, Sonny. We'll be talking soon.
Good to see you. He's Bryce from Brooklyn. There he is. Again, God, if I only had that good of looks. Woo, watch out. Everybody have a good one. Thanks for joining us on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Again, we will be on tomorrow I'm going to text Bryce. We're going to be on tomorrow, and we'll find out what time from Cuervo. I'll let everybody know about that because it's Black Monday, and there's nothing like Black Monday. That's the best time of the year. You've been watching the Couch Potato Sports Show. Of course, we didn't have Cuervo. You only got me. You got stuck with me, so I had to kind of move around and do things that I normally don't do. But we got through it. Everybody have a good one. Thanks for joining us on the Couch Potato Sports Show. I'm Eric.